Okay. We are live. Good evening. Welcome to Soundtracks with Birdman. Tonight, Captain America, Civil War, or as I call it, Avengers 2.5. Age Boomer is back. And we got the Marvel gang together, LeiaPlusSize and Jedi Master Zootopia. How is everyone tonight?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you for always coming.
Well, thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure to talk to everybody.
Cool.
Boomer, how are you?
I'm fine. Just getting over some of these Indiana Jones announcements, but I'll be fine. I think I was still wallowing in that last week, but yeah.
I don't think that those projects will be happening. They're just something to keep Kathleen Kennedy's hope alive as they usher her out the door.
That's the best we can hope for, is that they're dead in the water, but we'll see. They keep acting like they're ready to go, but we'll see. We'll see. Avengers Assemble, Big Al says, well, no, in this it's Avengers Disassemble, okay? Because this is the Civil War. Pick your side. That was a big thing before. Pick your side, you know. I know who I was going to pick.
Okay, so everyone just like Zootopia. Who are you?
Oh, I am Team Captain America all the way. I reject all of the fascist Iron Man bowing to the government.
The American government and the UN.
Yes.
Those are two separate entities, so let's not pretend they're the same thing.
Depends on who's in power. Sorry, go ahead, LeiaPlusSize. You're going to say.
I am Team Cap all the way, and I am here to defend my man tonight. Right. Watch out.
This is okay, Daniel. Sorry, Mr. Birdman.
Team Dr. Doom.
Oh, whatever. You're gonna be like, oh, I like both sides. I wish they weren't fighting. And that's what you're gonna say.
I think from like, if there's ever a question like who's morally right between Captain America and Iron Man, I'd have to pick Captain America because he's Captain America.
No.
And Iron Man's like a player, so.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Okay, well.
I'm interested to see what your reasons are, Agent Boomer, for
yes, we both would want to know. You got two cap defenders here, so you're going to have to bring your A game.
Okay, well, we'll see, man. I'm just going to say, when you look at Iron Man's team and versus Captain America's team, that's another feather in his cap, and we're going to go over that in this movie too.
Captain America's got the Scarlet Witch, so I'm not sure what else you need.
I'm going to have words to say when we start that movie. I'm noticing a common theme in many of the people on Captain's team and what they are and what they were. Okay, go ahead, though.
Okay. Let's all remember we're all friends here at the end of the evening.
Sure we are. Sure we are.
I don't want to see anyone get banned or purged
or too.
Or
until Captain America decided to side with a psycho assassin.
And someone's got a birthday next month.
Wait a minute now. Who's the psycho assassin? No.
Winter Soldier, man.
No, he's not.
Got a lot to answer for.
Those are fighting words. Watch yourself.
Framed, you mean? Framed?
Watch yourself.
We're fine. We're fine. Did I really say don't hate the player, hate the game? Yeah, well, that's in defense of Iron Man, okay?
Are you secretly a player, Age Boomer?
I'm not saying one way or the other.
College girls.
That would be kind of creepy at my age, maybe. But yeah, we'll see. Okay.
Big Al's Team Zemo. So
whose team's? No one's Team Zemo.
Big Al is.
Oh God.
Al's not. He's not going to like my Zemo comments. So tell him to get ready.
My family.
Chris P and Melissa Harris. What side are y'all on? I guess we should get this out of the way.
All right, Melissa Harris, 3.0.
Do you have a new channel now?
She says she has a backup.
Okay.
Team Cap. Everyone's Team Cap. Oh man. Okay. This is gonna get nasty. Okay.
Okay.
What do you
Let
like
me-
about
let
the
me
score, Daniel? This is a good score, right? I mean, it's a soundtrack.
Yes.
Birdman.
I wish
the
the
score, yeah.
soundtrack was not so abbreviated. Chris P. Team Ross thinking outside the box. Okay.
Oh God, no. Not
Okay,
no one really
okay,
likes
Boomer.
Ross.
Alistair's on your side. He's Team Iron Man, but I kind of knew that going in because he's got all the hot toys. But yeah, I do enjoy the score. To me, it's a good continuation of the Winter Soldier. It did get some slightly better reviews online from people who, I don't know more than other people. But the soundtrack release is awfully short. I mean, it's still like 60, 70 minutes, but it's missing a lot of music out of it. And I found today some cat on YouTube's got the complete score on YouTube, but it hasn't been released on CD. So if anyone knows how to put that on a CD and send it to me, you can give me my address. I'm not saying anything except that.
Is there like a release in Bulgaria that's the complete score, and you got to get it from there?
It might be, some far away land. But the budget for this was $250. The box office was $1.153 billion. It was the #1 film that year. Disney, I guess they had an okay year. They had the top 5 films with this, followed by Rogue One, Finding Dory, Zootopia, and Jungle Book. And then Secret Life of Pets, Batman vs. Superman, Fantastic Beasts, Deadpool, and Suicide Squad rounded out the top 10 of the year. So I guess it was a good year for Disney to have 5 of the top 10 films.
Yeah,
this one
had a good year.
definitely. Go ahead, Leah.
This one is to me, I didn't enjoy. I'm honest, didn't enjoy it as much as the Winter Soldier film.
Right.
I don't hate it. I kind of was dreading it because as much as I defiantly stand by my Captain Rogers, I'm an old-fashioned girl, and I wasn't too crazy about seeing a film where the heroes fight the heroes. Right. So I got to be honest about that. And I left the theater. I didn't feel as energized as I did when I came out of Winter Soldier.
Nobody did.
Yeah. This one, to me, so I was sort of dreading to see it. I'm like, okay, let me go. I mean, it's better than. I mean, I'll take it over Endgame any day because Endgame is just a trash fire disaster. But it's not. It left a bad taste in my mouth.
I think too. This is. I don't want to compare it to like Star Wars, but this is like the Empire. This is like the darkest hour of this whole Avengers storyline. Okay, when they're fighting each other. This is not what anybody wants to see.
Right.
Except for Hollywood producers that were pitching Batman versus Superman since the 90s and would not let it go. And then Marvel.
I was going to say that this one is almost leads. You could watch this and then Infinity War and really not miss too much.
Right.
This almost leads directly into that.
Yeah, Infinity War, I enjoyed a whole lot more, but I do agree with you. It rolls right into it. And there's other reasons, but I'm not gonna get into it. I'll wait till we get towards the end. I'll tell you. I'll tell you why I think this is their Empire Strikes Back, but why Empire's ending was a little better than this one. But I'll wait. I'll hold off on that a little bit.
No, sure thing.
Yeah, I'll hold on for that a little bit. But he's right. You can just go right into Infinity War after this one.
We got more Team Cat people in the show than we do Team Iron Man, Age Boomer.
Yay!
Well,
Yay! Yay! Yippee!
I'm gonna defend Tony tonight. I'm gonna defend him.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, you do have a right to defend him. No harm there.
I will say this. I think the film presents both sides of their argument very well, and it's not bashing you over the head to go with either one. And I will give them props for that.
Well, that's to the Russo brothers. Everyone said what the Russo brothers did do that everybody liked is they presented well both sides of the argument. That's what I heard a lot of people say.
Yeah. Well, this one was one of that Kevin Feige has said is one of his favorite storylines, and they really wrote it in a way that presents both sides pretty well. The movie kind of has to end, I think, leaning toward one way. But it does a very good job of at least for most of the movie, not taking sides and showing everyone's argument fair.
Yeah, you don't have to feel bad about who you choose. Even though I don't want to choose, but whoever you choose, it doesn't beat you. You're right. It doesn't beat you over the head with it. It just lets you see both sides of the story.
Yeah. I remember when this was going on in the comics too. That was a big deal. My friends were talking about it. Of course, it was different than it was in this movie, though. But yeah, I remember they were talking a lot about that.
Yeah, major changes in this. I'm familiar with the comic storyline this is based on, and the film does make some major changes from the storyline in the comic.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Spider-Man was way more important to the story than obviously. You know, when they first wrote that we're starting this, they didn't even know if they could use Spider-Man, but they were able to use him. But he figures very prominently in the comic book. Part.
I remember seeing that.
Should we start the film?
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm?
You want to do the countdown? Is everybody set up? Is everybody set up? I'm at the 0 mark.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, play.
Can we start over?
Oh,
Yeah.
My thing didn't work. Sorry. Hold on. I
okay,
apologize.
okay.
Unlike Tony Stark, who has nothing to apologize for. Okay. Everyone set up at the 0 mark again? I'm sorry. Anyway. Everyone set up?
Starting over. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm right at where it says 1991.
Okay. I'm at the 0 mark, but if we're one of us overlaps a little, it's fine. All right. So everyone set up?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Play.
Yes.
My God.
Or something wrong? 1991.
Fine. What second mark are you? 1991 just weird. Well, I'll just roll with it. Okay.
Okay. I'm at 16, 17.
I'm telling you, this Blu-ray player. All right, we got what is this? Antarctica?
Yeah.
Russia.
Siberia?
Yes,
Okay.
Siberia.
All right.
We're in
There we go.
Someplace very cold. Not Florida.
So of course we got Hydra.
Mhm.
Great villains.
It's I always like that. I mean, all of these characters are in Captain America movies, but since they have the movies in between, it doesn't feel like they're overused.
Right.
You know, I think that you could say, oh, if they only did 3 Captain America movies every other year, you'd say, really, Winter Soldier again, Bucky again, is that what we're doing? But since they kind of space them out and they have other stuff going on, it doesn't feel overused to me anyway.
Because you'll have like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie or or I don't know, was there a Thor? No, there probably wasn't a Thor movie. I'm trying to think what was the other movie in between, if there was one.
We had
Doctor Strange came out in November.
Age of Ultron was in between it.
Right. That's right. Ant-Man was before this too, I think. Yeah.
Right. Well, from what I read, that originally this was going to be a Cap movie, meaning the Avengers were not going to be in it. It was going to be picking up from Winter Soldier. It was going to be Cap searching for Bucky, and it was going to be Cap, Sam, and Natasha. But the events with Civil War will be befolding in the backdrop. That was going to be the B story. The A story was going to be Captain America searching for Bucky while all this other stuff is going on. But Disney decided we would make more money if we put the Avengers in this Cap film. And then the storyline shifted. Because as you watch this movie, you're going to see bits and pieces of what was going to be the first original Cap movie. So this was going to be Cap 3. That originally was the original idea.
It should have been Cap 3. I mean, when I go to see a Captain America movie, I'm kind of wanting to see Captain America, okay? And this does feel like Avengers 2.5. And I loved Winter Soldier, and I would, I've noticed with the Marvel movies too, I tended to prefer the standalone movies more than the ensemble pictures. I did notice that. Like the Iron Man movies, the Hulk movie, the Captain America movies, the Thor movies. But then they started the team up movies, it gets to be a little much for me, but I still watch them, obviously. But
I myself feel that I actually like in his solo movies than the Avengers movies, and I think a lot of that is due to the Russos. The Russos, I give a lot of credit to them for really fleshing Cap out. In the Avengers film, he's not really fleshed out that. I always say he's more of a badass in his solo films than in the Avengers films.
right,
But that's just me. I understand what you said, because I said this would have worked fine as a Cap movie, because when I went to see it, we all, for those of us that went to see it, family and friends, we didn't know what to call it. I said, I thought this was a Captain America movie. They said, no, it's an Avengers film. But I said it was Captain America, and it was Avengers movie. So I call it the third Avenger film. That's what it felt like, you know.
Well, some of the behind the scenes stuff was this was about the time where Disney has purchased Marvel, and
You're right.
but Ike Perlman was still involved, and Ike was famously cheap, and did not, wanted to keep the budgets low as possible. Well, Kevin Feige envisioned this as Civil War, and so he wanted to have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Well, that would have added a lot of costs, because Robert Downey Jr. wasn't contracted for this movie, so they were going to have to pay him a lot of money.
yeah,
And Ike did not want to pay it, and so that's what kind of finally ended the break of where Disney had to decide: do we go Kevin Feige's way, or do we keep Ike Perlman involved? And that's when they kind of shoved Ike Perlman off to the TV shows and didn't let him have any more influence on the movies. That's how we got Inhumans.
Oh no!
Oh, good God!
I watched the entire season of that. Do not waste your time.
Oh, you are a stronger constitution than I did. I checked it out after the first episode.
Yeah, it didn't get much better than. In fact, the first episode was probably the highlight. Okay,
Oh.
the dog was the best thing about the show. The lockjaw, the giant dog.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the best thing about the show.
Yeah.
I checked out after the first episode. I'm like, no, this is not going to work. This is pretty bad.
Well, it still baffles me. I watched that, and the whole thing about Medusa is that she uses her hair, and by the end of the first episode, they've cut it all off.
That was for the budget, because those CG effects are expensive. Okay,
Yeah, that's Ike Perlman. That is absolutely true. He doesn't like to spend money.
But a lot of money was spent on this. Let's look at this opening scene. This is incredible. This is what I want to see. Okay, in these movies, I want to see the Avengers kicking butt. Okay.
Oh yeah,
it's a good opening scene. Yeah, I like Crossbones in this scene. I was sad that they took him out. I actually liked his character as a bad guy.
I was expecting him to be the big heavy in a future Captain America movie, or maybe be working with Doctor Doom someday or something. And no, he's they kind of get rid of him in like the first 10 minutes. It's like
they could have used him on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. The show they could have used Crossbones. I think he would have.
I mean, like we said, it's an explosion. So if someone dies in an explosion, maybe they're not really dead. I don't know.
Right.
But it's like,
I agree.
Yeah.
So
like
that explains. That explains the script change when Disney took over. That's probably why the Cap 3 script changed, because it was supposed to be just a Cap 3 film. It was just going to be Cap, Sam, Natasha, and I think. Oh my God, I can't think tonight.
Wanda.
Wanda, yeah. It was just going to be those characters, and Sharon Carter. Those were the characters that were going to be in it. But when they switched over to putting the Avengers in, they threw that out. But in this film, there are pieces of the original script that's in there. If you notice some scenes that were supposed to be when it was just a Cap film, some ideas they kept.
right.
I think that this is where because this is the second Russo film, and I think you can see the seeds of where they're planning for Infinity War and Endgame. Obviously planted in this, and this is Kevin Feige just taking over and saying, "Yeah, it's my vision now."
I agree with you. I agree with you. Yes. I agree with you. Which is too bad because the Russos just rocked. If it were me and I saw what they did in One Soldier, I would say, well, these guys obviously know what they're doing. So I'm going to sit back and let them do what they do because obviously they know what they're doing. And they did. Even with this film, even though I'm not that in love with it, I liked what they did with the storytelling.
Yeah. And I think this is, I think this is a really good film that just pales by comparison to Winter Soldier and the first Captain America.
Yeah.
So, this is not a bad film. It's just, how in the world do you follow Winter Soldier?
I think if this hadn't been billed as a Captain America movie, I don't think it would be as annoying to me. If they just called it Marvel Civil War or Avengers Civil War, that might have made more sense to me. But then calling a Captain America movie, I come in with certain expectations, and this really a lot of. Sorry, I heard something there for a sec. Okay, but you're getting a lot of time devoted to Black Panther and Spider-Man in this movie too. And that's fine, but they're important characters. But I'm still expecting that's more time taken away from Steve here.
Yeah, that's the same way I felt. I felt the same way when I came out the theater. I went in, I knew it was called Captain America Civil War. So I was expecting more Steve Rogers, and I'm like you, H. Boomer. I felt the same way. That's why I think I had the reaction that I did. Because I'm like, it just didn't feel right, and I think it's because I did not know what to call it. I really didn't, and because of all the other Avengers, you lose some of Steve's stuff, and I wanted more Steve stuff. And like you said, how do you follow up a masterpiece like Winter Soldier? I'm sorry, Zootopia, you can go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say, yeah, the whole scene of him recruiting Spider-Man is just it. While it's a good scene, it just feels kind of disjointed. Why do you suddenly cut away for 10 minutes for this character? I understand why they did it, and that they were able to, get that character at the last minute. That's it. That scene disrupts the flow of the movie.
I have to agree with you on that. If he had more contact with Peter, say in Iron Man 2 or 3, maybe perhaps not as disjointed, but I do agree with you with that. I felt the same way, but I knew all what was going on behind the scenes with getting him in there. But do you think maybe it was too much? You're introducing T'Challa, Black Panther, and you got Spider-Man in there. Do you guys think maybe that was a little bit too much, or?
Yeah, well, these are two big deal heroes, and they're getting introduced in a Captain America movie, and it's fine. Like I almost think with at least with Black Panther, they do kind of weave his reasons for being in here more into the story. His father gets killed in the terrorist act and he's after. So it makes more sense for him to be showing up. But I think with Spider-Man 2, wouldn't it have been neat if Disney had kept it under wraps and we don't even see him introduced to Peter Parker, then Spider-Man just shows up in the battle. Here's the guy I was talking about, the extra guy I brought. It's Spider-Man, and everybody is shocked in the audience because they weren't expecting that, but I don't know.
I agree with you. They should have kept it as Alstar. What is it? Alstar Doug. I agree with your comment. They need to stop killing off good villains. I am missing one of my critiques of Marvel is I'm not getting good villains. And when I mean by good villains, I want evil, wicked. I want to take over the world. Lex Luthor, Zod from Richard Donner movie type of villain. I'm tired of these sympathetic villains. Or making a villain sympathetic. I want a villain that is just good and evil. That's why you like them, because they are good and evil.
Crossbones is one of these guys. He's terrifying in Winter Soldier. Because you don't even see him as the bad guy in the beginning, but you see him as this big burly guy, and you're like, I'm glad he's on our side. Well, he's not on our side, okay? He's scary. And I was expecting him to be a full-on villain in a future movie. And here we go. Get done. Get rid of him.
I was upset that he didn't stay longer. I wanted him to be in the film more. Yeah, I did. That's a villain. That's just a bad guy, and that's the kind of villain I want to see.
Can I get a timestamp, please? I had to reset everything on my end.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, can I do a display on my thing? Hold on. Let me try info. Info. Okay, I might be a little behind people, but I'm at 13 minutes, 8 seconds. You might want to go more for 13:15 or something. Yeah.
Well, I have they just switched over to Tony's story.
Yeah.
His mom's on screen.
That's where I am. This part in the movie freaked me out because I'm like, what's going on here? What am I looking at? This is because I, of course, grew up with Robert Downey Jr. as a member of the Brat Pack, right?
I remember.
Or Ally McBeal, right?
Well, that was
okay. Moving on.
We need teenage Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I did too.
I'm now at 13:45, Daniel. Okay.
Okay.
But and I'm thinking it looks like young Robert Downey Jr., but then it doesn't. And it's that, what do they call that? Uncanny valley, where something's not quite right here. And this bothered me seeing this in the theater, and I'm like,
yeah, I said this. And some of the younger MCU fans do not know that Robert had a career as a young actor. He was around the same time as Tom Cruise. Yeah. So they don't know. I had to tell my nephew, I had to show my nephew going to my 80s collection. And I said, here is a young Robert Downey Jr. And he was like, wow.
Show him back to school.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, if you don't know Back to School Robert Downey Jr., then you don't know Robert Downey Jr.
Right. Exactly. So us that grew up with him knew who he was, but my nephew was like, wow, he's been acting that long? Like, yeah.
I would I'm old fashioned. Find an actor that sort of looks like a young Robert Downey Jr., or at least can pass, and we go, oh, that's who that's supposed to be. They did it with the Donner Superman. They found the younger Clark Kent in that one scene. I thought he worked fine. Okay.
Yeah.
They just overdubbed the voice.
Yes.
And this is where now Tony's coming out during this weird simulation. Yeah, I can see why people don't like Tony in this movie, actually. He's coming off like a pompous ass here. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's been a while since I've only seen this like 3 times, I think, but it's.
But now this right here is what Mysterio did for Homecoming, right?
Yes. I'm gonna tell you, the Far From Home you're thinking of. Far From Home, I went in with low expectations and was kind of pleasantly surprised. I didn't love everything in it, but I did kind of like how they did Mysterio. Other people may argue and disagree with me, but I kind of like the fact that he was this ex-Stark employee that, and like all the other people working for him were these people that were in other, you had little moments in other Iron Man movies and stuff that worked for Tony, and they were fed up, and it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, and it's just like a comic book where you have some scientist in the background, and then 12 issues later, they bring, after the main villain has been defeated by whatever comic they're in, and then they bring back the scientist that was in the background. So it fits in how comic books kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, even on the X-Files, Cigarette Smoking Man started out as just a guy in the background, and then later on he's like the main villain of the whole series, But he was there in that for very first episode.
Man, I love that show. I love Cigarette Smoking Man. Every single time he came on, and I was right there in front of the TV. I love it.
Terrifying.
Since you brought up the X-Files, let's get off track here for a second. Was it alluded to that he was Mulder's father?
It was alluded to.
Here's the thing. I think it was alluded to, but it gets confusing on there because I've heard it both ways, that he might have been Mulder's sister's father. Okay. Or then I think that's what it was. I don't know, though, okay? It gets confusing on the X-Files. I can't keep track, but that was rumored. It was rumored that this other guy, or maybe he was Mulder's father. I don't know. No, I don't know if they
was a show that just suffered from going on for too long.
Yes.
If they had done a solid 7 seasons, I think that with a beginning, middle, and end, that would have done the show a lot better. But they wanted to go to 11 seasons.
What the guy who made it wanted to do is he wanted to do a few seasons and then start doing X-Files movies and stop the show. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Which would have made more sense because it would give him time to plan things out instead of everything falling apart. This is a terrifying scene. This is one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the movie theater. This woman that
But
confronts
it's-
Tony.
It's very
Oh,
grounded
yes.
though, because people do die when buildings fall to the ground. You
I know.
I mean, this is something where you can absolutely see some mother going up to a general after World War II or in the Vietnam War and having this exact same conversation.
Someone made a bad call. Their son died for no reason. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think it's relatable to think, yeah, this is something that Tony would go through, and of course, Tony is always, here's a problem, I've got a solution, I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to make sure everything's going to work after I've fixed it. I mean, that was what he did with Ultron. The shield around the world is what he wanted. Suit armor around the world is what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it fits in with what Tony's character.
Yeah.
How he figures out problems as opposed to how Cap would do it.
Yeah. I blame you. Okay. In a way, this is almost like where he gets that thing where Scarlet Witch puts that thing in his head about all the Avengers getting killed. And he's like, I got to stop this. Now it's another thing like this. I got to figure out a way to prevent this from ever happening again. I think that's what he's thinking in his head.
Yep.
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, Melissa. I was just saying, Melissa Harris, I agree with you. That scene, I had mixed emotions. I understand what you guys were saying, but I also felt that I guess the bad guy wasn't around that started to put the blame on as well. But the Avengers, I guess, had to take the brunt of that, even though they were trying to save everyone. But so I had mixed emotions with that, because something that it was the beginning of seeing superheroes as something to fear, because we get that same argument in Man of Steel.
It reminds me, though, of what was said in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie about how what do the people love more than seeing a hero rise, seeing a hero fall? And that's sort of what I'm getting a little bit of a hint at in here, too. I mean, we praise celebrities, but then the way we kind of like to tear them down, too. Like when they I guess Robert Downey Jr. in some ways was a poster child for that, because he went through a really bad spell and then he had to come back, which is a rare instance of that ever happening in Hollywood.
It is. And that's why I think a lot of people felt he played this role so well, because he lived Tony Stark's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this came out at the same time as Batman v Superman, if you remember, and because they're almost the exact same themes of the movie, safety versus security. But aged boomer, I obviously Batman versus Superman was not successful, and I'd love to tear that movie down.
I'm telling you, at some point we should pick a movie with a good score, but still a bad movie. Okay.
It did $873 million, though. I mean,
Batman
versus Superman. The studio still felt that was underperformed.
They
They still felt like it underperformed.
Well,
because they felt that Batman and Superman are more popular than Iron Man and Captain America. Our film should have made more money. So that's what the studio was thinking.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But the thing is that those two are the exact same movie, but this is number 15 in the series of 23. Batman v Superman is movie 2.
Ridiculous.
This movie earns the conflict
Everything.
between superheroes. Batman v Superman does not, and that's the difference between what Kevin Feige was doing. I mean, it's not what Disney wanted. Disney would have if nothing else. If Kevin Feige isn't there, Disney makes this the second movie too. But this is the difference between how Kevin Feige's telling the story and how Warner Brothers tells the story.
I agree. I think that Batman versus Superman felt forced. They just threw it in there. Whereas we saw with the movies how this was building up to this. So that's why this one succeeds. Exactly what you said, whereas Batman versus Superman, to me, felt like they just threw it in there. Well, they want to see superheroes fight. Well, let's just throw it in there and people will come. So yeah, you're exactly right why that failed.
The end of the movie has almost the exact same scenes of what is Batman or Superman says, save Martha, and Batman says, "Why did you say that name?" But at the end of this movie, it's the line that hits you, I think, hardest is when he says, "I don't care, he killed my mom." That is so much more impactful than Save Martha.
Yeah.
And it's because it's
Yes.
earned.
Right. I agree.
Because it's interesting. We see that scene earlier, and I guess Tony was acting like, maybe, but he loved his parents, even though he was having they didn't have a fight or anything, right? But yeah, they were like, I don't know. Go ahead. I'm trying to remember now.
Well, from what I read from Jon Favreau, again, this is when Disney was like Zootopia was saying, the big shift that Disney was happening. Jon Favreau didn't want to go in that direction about the parents. He said for Iron Man 2, he wanted to deal with Tony's alcoholism. He wanted to take, because that was in the comics, and he wanted to do with that. But Disney felt alcoholism was too dark, and the kids won't come to see it if you have Tony scene dealing with some sort of substance problem. Which why Robert Downey Jr. was on board with that, because he understands substance abuse.
Yeah.
But Disney didn't feel that was too scary. So Feige came up with the idea that I don't know the whole story, but I guess either, and see, this is where the script gets a little crumbly. I guess his father didn't spend enough time with him, or maybe he wanted his father's love and he didn't get it. And it's all kind of funky, but I think it does seem like they came up with something than what Jon Favreau originally wanted to do in Iron Man 2. He wanted to push it to a darker tone,
right,
with the alcoholism more than dealing with his parents. But Disney felt that was too dark, and kids will not come to see that. It'll scare them away. And so that's when that was dumped for this story about his parents, or because we don't really get a clear reason why. We never see a scene of his father really rejecting him or whatever, or we don't really get that. So I can feel that tapped on than what was supposed to be the original backstory.
Yeah. Well, that's when in was it Iron Man 2 where they gave him that blood disease and that the core of his arc reactor was poisoning him. But they had a lot of this, like that scene between Iron Man and
Rhodey?
War Machine fighting at that party. That's taken entirely from the comics. That's in there where Iron Man is partying in his armor, and then War Machine has to come in and take it away from him. That's straight from the comics, and but only in the comics it was because Tony was drunk, not because of the poisoning.
Right. It was the alcohol, and that's what Jon Favreau wanted to go on. He wanted to put him dealing more with the alcoholism, but Disney at that time, I guess there was a lot of the shifting of the power going on there. Said too dark, and that's why that got dumped out. And Favreau wasn't happy about that. He felt that should have been part of Iron Man 2. Is to see this. It was to see this hero fight this addiction that he had, because in the comics he does have alcohol. He battles alcoholism a lot, and you're right about that. And Favreau wanted to show that, but they opted for, I don't get along with my mommy and daddy to be, or my mommy or my daddy didn't come and play toys with me. He was building his rocket ships, kind of thing. Right. Then I'm battling alcoholism. But Disney felt that kids, then again, get that kids' audience, felt kids would stay away from that. They wouldn't come see it. That was too dark. It's got to be lighthearted.
Yeah,
and they missed it.
Got to stick a Disney princess in there or something.
Exactly. And Favreau had confidence in Robert to do that.
Yeah. But thank you also, Chris P, for the support. I appreciate that.
So we have our villain here, Zemo, right?
Yes.
Yes. Zemo.
Very much different from the comics. I mean, character here is very different from the comics.
Very different. I agree, Zootopia.
I hear they're trying to fix some of that in the TV show.
They don't. It's worse.
Okay.
I checked out on the, and I'm very glad you did. I checked out on the Disney Plus shows after they during WandaVision, in the middle of that, when they brought Petro back as the other guy from the X-Men. I was like, this is no, it's
some guy named Ralph. This is some guy named Ralph. Stop imposing your fan theories on something.
Yeah, I have very gratefully not watched one episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
God bless you. I am never. I watched a few. I'm never going back to that thing again. God, you smart man, Zootopia.
I was told today by a guy that it's a pretty good show, but
Well, anyway, it's hard to tell anymore.
I've heard people talk about some of the politics they're infusing in the show. I'm just like, I don't care to see that.
Yeah,
and I hear other people say like, oh, it's really good, it's good, it's really good, and I'm like, okay. I mean, do I want to invest the time to find out? I guess it's kind of like where I'm at.
My advice, and you're your own man, Birdman, but my advice, and you're talking to a woman here who's a Cap fan, who's a totally devoted Cap fan, and like Bucky, you got better things to do with your life. If you really, really value your life, you don't want to take 6 hours of your life on this thing. It's. I agree with Zootopia that I should have checked out. I should have took the warning after I checked out a WandaVision too. Same thing, and the same thing with this one. I advise people, no, it's not worth it. But you can judge for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that the people doing the movies don't have much influence on the people doing the TV shows. As far as they're probably saying you can't use this character, you can't do that. But other than that, they don't really care what message that they're putting out or how they're writing it. And to me, a lot of what I like about what I've always liked about comics is that they've, for the most part, at least tried to adhere to continuity. I kind of like that I could pick up a Spider-Man comic in 5 years and it's going to be the same character, or Captain America, or that they're going to respect their past. And the TV shows are doing none of that. I don't think that they're respecting any of the movies. I don't think that they're respecting the comic books. They're creating something different, and it's not good.
They probably feel that we've had our fun, and now we get to preach that. That's what it's starting to feel like these days. What do we think?
Now we have to be preached to and told what to think.
Yep. What do we think of what is it? Secretary? I guess he was General Thunderbolt Ross, and now he's a secretary of something now, right?
Yeah, Secretary of State. Yeah.
And what's funny about him? I'm pretty sure the same actor, same character that we saw in Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I love how he starts out. I just want to make a point that I think Professor Geek once mentioned that like a trend of baby boomers is to give you like intimate details of their life story a lot, and it's like we don't want to. And like that's what Thunderbolt Ross says. I had a triple bypass surgery. I saw things clear. I'm like, I don't want to hear about your life. Okay, it's like we didn't like you in Incredible Hulk. We like you less now. Go away.
Yeah. Yes, I was about to say I hated him in Hulk and hated him with a passion here. He is a total, if I may say, a-hole through this whole film.
Yes.
This whole film.
We're all adults.
Stand him. Yeah.
Even Tony doesn't really like him, even though he's sort of siding with him on this issue. It's like
yeah, and that's the thing that upped me a little bit, and that's why I admired Cap, because Cap stood up to him, but Tony just, I don't like you, but okay, but that's just I don't know who I hated worse, Zemo or Ross.
This is also where they kind of lose because out on not having the rights to the Hulk, because Thunderbolt Ross was a huge part of the Hulk comic books and was the father of Betty Ross, and actually ends up becoming in the comics Red Hulk, and so that not having the rights to be able to do Hulk movies has kind of limited that area of them being able to use those characters.
I agree, because Hulk was very popular, and it's too bad he wasn't in this, because Hulk was a huge fan base, very popular. You're right. I totally agree with you on that, not to have some connection with him. Because when I listen to Ross and he puts up this Accords, my mind is going, what's really behind this? What's really your motivation? Is your motivation really to protect the people, or are you doing something else? Are you not over Dr. Banner?
Yeah, he's still sore about that.
Yeah.
I don't think he has as much a problem with Tony Stark, because he's just a man with a suit, but it's like.
But it's Dr. Banner that he hasn't gotten over, that in that movie, basically Dr. Banner wins out. Betty chooses Banner over him, and I wondered, did somebody's ego take a hit? But that's what I was thinking when I was listening to him sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what's really motivating you?
He has ego issues. I think it's something.
Yeah.
Here's something that went nowhere: the romance between Captain America and I guess Peggy Carter's niece. Isn't that what they were setting up here? Pretty.
Yeah.
This is definitely kind of Leia kissing Luke in Empire.
I hear
that's a good analogy. Now. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, on the show. See, they messed up everybody on the show. I just don't know what them people were doing. Yeah, they did. Yeah, she's not the same person in here. I agree with you, Zootopia. I think, yeah, that's a good analogy. And I also agree, Age Boomer, the way Feige wrote these movies, they just didn't have time to set their romance up. It just one of those things that just got lost, that they just really just couldn't build on. And that's why, to me, it felt like forced a little bit. It's like someone saying, okay, we got to give Cap a love story. Here's Sharon Carter. Okay, throw that in there. I just think because everybody, when I went to see it with my friends that went to see the movie, forgot she was in it. So they would tell me, oh, yes, she was in there. So I think it's just the way the Russos wrote it. They just didn't have time to develop that. Had this been part of the TV show and Chris State, perhaps, because now you're doing a show. But in the movies, it just got lost. It just got lost.
Yeah. Well, I think you can see now that you've seen all of the movies through Endgame that the Kevin Feige and the Russos had a pretty clear idea of where they were going to take Tony Stark. I mean, you think of, the first Iron Man, the third Iron Man, Age of Ultron, Civil War here, Spider-Man Homecoming, Infinity War, and Endgame. They hit the beats just right to show Tony Stark's arc from being, a selfish jerk to being somebody who will sacrifice his own life, and how he makes that journey. I don't think here that they had the idea of how they were going to end Cap's story yet.
I agree.
And I think that if they had committed earlier and said we're going to send them back through time and have them be with Peggy Carter, that it would have been done better. But I think here they didn't know how they were going to end Cap's story here. I think they knew how they were going to end Tony's, but not Cap.
I absolutely agree with you on that. Yep, I absolutely agree. That's a good call. You're right. Had they alluded to it in between the films, that ending wouldn't seem so out of Cap's character, which I still feel was not his character. That was not the way to do it. That was totally not Cap. And I do think that exactly everything you just said, that they got stuck on what to do with Steve Rogers. But
and I get it, because 80 years from now they're still going to be making Captain America comics. You can't have Chris Evans still playing Captain America 80 years from now. So you have to have an ending to their story, just like Robert Downey Jr. can't keep playing Iron Man.
Well, see, here's the thing. I agree with that. However, you replace the actor. It's just like, Daniel Craig is not going to be James Bond all his life. So
that's a good thing.
You replace the actor. So even if they knew they weren't going to have Chris and Robert, I still felt the characters did not have to end that way. You just get a new actor. Just like, how many Spider-Man actors have we had? How many actors have been Bruce Wayne? So I think the same thing could have been done here. Yeah.
Which I do kind of appreciate that they're not. I think one of the thing about Disney and Marvel, they have literally 8,000 characters that they have rights to. So if they wanted to go ahead and end all of the current characters, I think that they have enough other characters to be able to take it off, to make new Avengers and to make X-Men and Fantastic Four. If they wanted to retire, say, the Captain America character, Steve Rogers, that's kind of interesting. I mean, they don't normally do that. Companies like to milk something for as long as they can. Jaws 4. And so that's kind of admirable.
What about Jaws 3?
Think that the Avengers and Marvel, you can't have Avengers and Marvel without Captain America, without Iron Man, without Thor.
I agree. I agree. And I think that that's starting to show. And I think that's why the streaming shows are not doing well. I have many people are in my friends or my community that are Avengers fan. I have one coworker, for instance, she's not watching either one of the shows. She says she didn't watch WandaVision because Tony Stark was her favorite character. But she said, but now that Tony's gone, I don't have any investment in the MCU. And she said she doesn't want to see Falcon and Winter Soldier because there's no Steve Rogers. So, and then she said she doesn't want to see Loki because there's no Thor. So right now she says she has no interest in seeing anything from the MCU because the characters she likes are gone. And I think those cracks are starting to show a little bit.
Yeah, do you know what I was expecting to happen with Iron Man? And I thought they had set this up in part 3. He runs into that kid in the Midwest, right? Who's like a kind of a science whiz himself. He buys him the lab for his I guess, barn at the end of the movie. I was expecting when that actor got older, he would become the new Iron Man, and like Tony would be like a supervisor position, like kind of like Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond, how you had the young Batman and he was older.
Right.
And I thought they were going to go that route with that. So Tony Stark would be retired as Iron Man, but there'd be another guy as Iron Man out there, and Tony would consult with him sometimes, and they could still bring back Robert Downey Jr. to do, little spots, but that's not where they ended up going there. But that's what I thought they were setting up with the kid in Iron Man 3. But
that would have made sense. I agree with you, but they decided
you're not woke enough, aged boomer.
But my point was that
we need to re-educate you.
Yes, I know. Yes. Instead of killing him off, he could have just been, I have a family now, I have a business to run, and if someone else can take over the Iron Man 3, you have that, and he can still help out in like other capacities. That's what I was expecting to see. Anyway.
I was thinking the same thing. Even with Steve Rogers, they could have had him just retire from Cap and maybe start his relationship with Sharon Carter, and they go off and they do that. But no, can't have that.
Do you know what's interesting on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I want to bring up Coulson wanted Steve Rogers to take, when S.H.I.E.L.D. reassembled, he wanted Captain America to take over as head of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's what Captain America could have done. He could have just been the guy in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, you wouldn't see him in every movie. He would just be the guy in the supervisory role, right? Maybe he would go into missions every now and then, but he would have gotten promoted, basically.
Yeah.
And that they could have went that way with Steve. So you can still have these characters in the MCU having lives, but they're just not out in the field, and they're younger heroes or different heroes. Anyway.
I do this for can't play Nick Fury forever.
What? Oh yeah.
He's 72 years old.
Yeah. And they're still using him, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway.
I want to make a point here. The Black Panther in this film, it's not the Black Panther in the Black Panther film. What happened?
Oh, that's interesting. Can you expound on that a little bit?
It's not the same character. The Black Panther in this film, he is focused, he is precise, he is a motherfucking badass. and then the movie, he's like, oh, I want to talk to this girl, but I'm kind of like, I don't really know. And oh, my sister's telling me how to do things. In this movie, he ain't got no one telling him how to do a damn thing. He's like, I'm getting the Winter Soldier. I'm taking him back to Wakanda, and it's done. That's it.
He's an established superhero.
That's it.
In this movie.
Yeah, but in his movie, he's taking a back seat to everybody else. What the hell happened?
I agree with you 1,000%. I said the same way.
I think they were wanting him to give an origin movie after he had his origin already. Do you understand? I think they were trying to. They like to show the young hero being challenged, like Iron Man first getting this, building the suit and getting it on. I think they wanted to do something similar for Black Panther, but he was already established in Civil War being a full-fledged superhero.
Such a good job with him in this film. I'm like, man, I'm Team Black Panther in this film. I'm like, yeah. I went into Black Panther and I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what happened here?
Well,
it's like you had you had a great first date with this really hot girl, and then you go out the second time and you show up and you haven't taken a bath in like a week, and you're wearing ratty clothes, and your credit card won't go through for the meal, and your car breaks down. It's like, what the hell?
That sounds like a personal story that you're interjecting there.
It's not. But I take a bath every day. Thank you.
What is Bucky buying there? Is it like plums or something?
Plums. He's buying plums.
Okay, yeah.
He's buying plums, and he is speaking. Like he's in. I think he's in. I think he's in Hungary. Yeah, because Sebastian Stan speaks Romanian, so he's speaking the exact language there. They took advantage of that. But back to Daniel's point, I totally agree. I felt the same way when I went into Black Panther, and I think what I can tell you, 2 words: the directors. The Russos got him. Ryan Coogler did not. I'm sorry, a lot of people played it, but I had the same feeling, and you're not the only one who said that. That's why Black Panther made so much money in its opening weekend, because people thought, well, where's the guy we saw in Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I was way excited for Black Panther, and I was like so let down.
I'm gonna say I found Andy Serkis very obnoxious in Black Panther. Maybe that was me. I don't know. Maybe other people liked him in that, but I don't know. I wanted him to stop talking at several points, but
he's another one like Crossbones that I think just got misused, underused, and then misused, and they just kind of tossed him away, and we're like, we're done with him, because I mean he was Claw is a big part of the MCU, and I think that they could have done a lot more. I just think that as they were going along, they were like, well, we don't need Crossbones in this, so we can kill him off. Well, we don't need Claw, so we can kill him off, which is something that just don't use the characters and have the option to bring them back later, because they're interesting characters.
Couldn't they have just had one of Crossbones' henchmen get blown up instead of Crossbones? You understand?
Yeah. Yes.
Like he's the
not
one
that hard
does,
to do.
Then you could have Crossbones come back in a later movie. That's what they normally do.
I agree. Again, Melissa Harris brought this out in her comment. The MCU has a problem killing off good villains.
Yeah.
They need to stop doing that. They need to let them go like in DC, Arkham Asylum somewhere, and keep them there for a little while and bring them back when they're ready for them. I totally agree with that. I absolutely do. Just good villains. They could have used him a lot in Black Panther and even films beyond that, But I remember I had the same feeling after I came out of when I went to see Age of Ultron after I came from Winter Soldier, because the Winter Soldier movie, Cap was a real badass and a leader and a force to be reckoned with. And even though Age of Ultron is not bad, I was like, can I get that badass Steve Rogers that kicked gas to all those guys in that elevator?
Yeah, and that goes along with Chris P's comment. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I agree with him. Is this the scene? Are we at the scene now where they're Steve is chasing?
Down the stairs.
That is the best action scene in the film. That is a great action. That chase sequence, loved it. I agree.
Oh, I just want to say I do like the fact that Winter Soldier threw a cinder block at somebody just there. Or Bucky, I should call him now. He's not really the Winter Soldier at this point, right? So. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons that they're able to, I would say that these Captain America movies, their action scenes are more visceral, is just because they're real life stunts, they're practical effects, it's not CGI stuff like you have to do with Iron Man and Thor. It's that's someone actually standing on a stairway fighting somebody else, and I think that makes it feel more real and better.
I think that's why the Steve and Bucky action scenes and the Cap movies work, is for the same reason you just said, Zootopia. You're dealing with something totally different with Steve and Bucky. Steve and Bucky are grounded with Thor and Iron Man. You've got to put the CGI in to do what they do. But with Steve and Bucky, it's a lot of hand to hand, grounded stunt work. And that's why I think there's action scenes always rock and everybody remembers them because just that, Has he done a 360 on the motorcycle yet? I don't think we're there. Yeah, I love that with his one arm. He does the 90-degree turn on the motorcycle while he's trying to get away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
love that.
This is the first time we see Black Panther.
Right.
in
Yeah.
his suit.
You know, and another thing about Black Panther here, Black Panther the movie, I like what Henry Jackman did for the little flourish of music for the Black Panther every time he comes in. But for the film, they went completely different. A different guy did the score. I know he got an Academy Award. I don't think it was deserved at all. I didn't like the music in the Black Panther either. I like the little theme he's got here, though. I wish they would have expanded upon that for the film. But anyways, rant over. So
No, I agree. I agree. You made 2 points about it. No, I think that again. I think direction. The Russos just got these characters. I think they knew how to do these grounded. Even Iron Man, because I always associate Iron Man with Favreau, because of Favreau, what was he to handle? But to have the Russos come in and get them the way they did, these guys knew what they were doing. I totally agree. And then the director for Black Panther, Ryan Coogler, everybody's praising him, but I thought, he's overhyped just a little bit. Bit.
I've always, for Black Panther, I think people talk more about Michael B. Jordan than they do about Black Panther, which I think that's deserved. I do think that Michael B. Jordan is one of the best villains that they do have. And of course, they kill him off, as Melissa Harris says.
They always kill him. We get a good film, they kill him off, or they don't bother using him and have him show up on an alien planet somewhere where he's guarding a stone. Okay. Red Skull. I had no idea. And if Hugo even didn't want to come back, just recast. Okay. They recast Bruce Banner. They had no problem doing that with Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo, but they don't want to recast anybody else. I don't know. No, they didn't. They did what's his name? Brody got recast too. So
I
War Machine.
Yeah, War Machine. Yeah.
I didn't like Don Cheadle as War Machine. I'm sorry, I didn't. I think either could have. I'm sorry we lost
Terrence Howard. That was the actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed Terrence. I think Terrence Howard would have rocked in that role. I think he did, or they could have got Cuba Gooding Jr. But Don Cheadle that
would have been good.
Yeah, Don Cheadle I'm like, good actor, not Rhodey.
Well, he was another one of those. Ike Perlman's. This guy's a lot cheaper.
Okay, that's what it was.
I have to say, in this movie too, I'm like saying, how old is Don Cheadle at this point? It's like
he should have been his late 40s almost, because he's in his 50s now.
Yeah, okay, because he looked like he was having gray hair in the one scene when he's recovering. Of course, maybe that was on purpose to show he had an intense experience. I don't know, because I remember him from Picket Fences. I used to watch Picket Fences all the time. He was the DA on that show, I think. Yeah.
And I also felt Howard and Robert had good chemistry, but here I just felt like Cheeto and Robert, like they're not clicking. They're not clicking. But Terrence Howard and Robert did. But here I feel like Cheeto and they're not clicking here.
Yeah, Terrence, they felt like when they were talking, they felt like they were old friends.
Right.
Don Cheadle does not.
Right. I agree. There you go. I agree.
Okay, so we got War Machine here. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I'll bring it up for later. I was just going to say that I don't think Sebastian Stan gets enough credit as Barnes. I think he should get a lot of credit for. I think he did a good job bringing Bucky to life and working with what he had. Just me, but I do think Sebastian Stan deserves.
No, you're absolutely right. He does. He does. Yeah, I honestly, I think that we don't think about it because he almost becomes Bucky. I think to me, you look at him and he becomes just the character so well, and he slips it on that we don't even really think about him. It's an actor that and I think that's kind of high praise to be able to say, you do so well, I don't even notice you're acting. And that is the way that he is. So you're right.
Well said, Zootopia. I do, because I think he gets overlooked. Even with the TV show, there's more talk with Anthony Mackie, who I like. I'm not knocking him, but I just feel like Sebastian Stan has gotten lost. And I said that the same reason that you said, it's like and that's a sign of a good actor. Like he really becomes that character. And that's the kind of actor that you want. And so I really believe him in that role. And, to pay, second fiddle to Chris Evans, who's the Captain America, Steve Rogers, that everybody loves and really knows. He held his own pretty well, So I was just saying that I just want to give some extra shout out to Sebastian Stan for that, because I think he gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. He deserves it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, he does. These films would not have worked. You would not have believed this friendship and everything Rogers is risking for him if you did not believe in this friendship that they had, because of everything Steve is pretty much risking in this film, taking his side over against the Avengers, that person must mean a lot. So you wouldn't believe it if they didn't have, if Sebastian didn't make you believe it.
Yes. And that's another reason, this movie earns the right to have the heroes fight each other, and have the Civil War the way that it does in opposed to DC and Batman v Superman.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So here we have Vision and Wanda. Again, this is another scene when I was watching this, I'm like, where's Cap? But and of course, poor Vision and Wanda, I feel really got shortchanged in a lot of these movies. Next time we see them, they're in a relationship. Here, they're at odds with each other, and it's just weird. Like, what happened in between? It's like,
I wouldn't say they're at odds with each other. I say that they're involved here, but
you think
Vision's
so?
been told, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He loves her, and she definitely loves him.
I think it's pretty clear that he is in love with her, and that it's not a stretch that they're suddenly in a relationship. At least to me. I mean, it may be to you. Of course, I also know about the comics and how those work out too.
I agree with all of you. And Age, I'm just going to say, Age, you're not the only one to make that notice. That I think what happened was we got A, we got C, we didn't get B. We saw them meet and they're in love, but we didn't see the falling in love.
No, yeah.
And that's where it starts to fall. Like you said, you believe they're in love, but we didn't see the falling in love. So this is one that in some ways got changed. And even on the show, we didn't get C. We got A, B, D, but we didn't get C.
So that could have been an Iron Man 4. We could have seen the Vision, Wanda romance or something. But yeah,
it could have been.
Which we never got in Iron Man 4, but yes.
Or they could have done on the internet little vignettes or little mini movies or little mini things showing how they fell in love. So when we get to this moment, we feel it, and you don't feel it. It feels like, again, tapped on love story. We got to put it there. It's in the comics, so it has to be there. Well, it doesn't only have to be there, but if it's going to be there, you got to get there. And we didn't get there. And even on the TV show, I think Zootopia, when the people fell out, is because we missed the falling in love. We get there in love, but what happened to the falling in love? It's kind of, it's kind of like you meet someone overnight, and the next thing you know, they're at the altar getting married. But like, what happened in between? Where was the engagement? So that's why it feels the way it did. I felt the same way too. I was like, okay, we can move on.
So here's Martin Freeman from Black Panther. He shows up in that too.
I love Martin Freeman, good actor. I personally thought he was miscast in that role. I did not believe him 1 second he was that agent. I could see bringing Coulson back in that role, or a Christopher Maloney, Elliot Stabler type of guy in that role. I always told people, I bet Christopher Maloney from Law and Order would have been great in that role. But Martin Freeman just did not convince me. And he didn't convince me in Black Panther either. I thought he was just not written, or I just didn't believe him as an agent. I would have rather had Coulson there than Martin Freeman. I don't know,
They could have brought back Maria Hill.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense.
That would have been great. That would have been great than what Martin Freeman was doing. The wonderful actor, love him, great. Loved him in the Sherlock movies. I mean, the TV show on BBC. But here he just didn't pull it off. He just really just didn't pull it off. I didn't believe him once. I'm like, my man, you're not scaring me. I always tell people, I don't know if anybody watches Law and Order, or Special Victims Unit, but I always felt that Christopher Maloney would have been great in that role if they wanted.
That would have been good. I thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because Christopher Maloney seemed like he could look those heroes in the eye, much like the way I see him on Law and Order. So Martin Freeman, I didn't buy, and even Black Panther too. Sorry, but that's just me.
So here we got Tony coming out in good faith to his good friend Steve. What does Steve do? Throws it right back in his face. Listen,
I love that.
I think this is just a really well written scene where you can see. I can understand why Cap is kind of enticed by what Tony says and is almost ready to sign, and just two friends sitting down and talking, and they're very good at it. It's well written, and but then of course just something happens at the end and then Steve's nope, not doing it.
Right. I agree. A lot of people say that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Boomer. I was just going to
bring up that he and Pepper are split up again, and I'm like, they're on and they're off again in all these movies. It's like, go ahead though.
I think it depends what Gwyneth Paltrow's got going on.
I know, probably right. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Zootopia. I agree with you. A lot of people like that scene. They thought it was a really good one of the best scenes out of the film is that little moment where Steve almost signs and then he gets his conscience back and then says, no, I'm not bending. Not bending the knee.
Listen, the Sokovia Accords are very important. There was a scene on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where, like, there was going to be an alien invasion at the end of one season, and the one general says, Coulson, you can't just go off and do it. We got the Sokovia Accords now. And I'm like, yeah, they got to debate about it in the UN for 6 months. It's like,
But you're on Team Iron Man. So
Team Iron Man, because I agree.
Team Iron Man.
What?
So what do you think about this scene? Team Iron Man are you upset that Steve doesn't sign?
The guy have a heartbreaker. I mean, Tony's coming in and he's like, come on, we can't, it's not about good and evil anymore. It's about who's registered and who's not registered. Okay. So you need to sign and be one of the good people who's registered. Okay.
Oh,
we have a real problem, with that whole thing with that evil robot, collateral damage. And of course, that was my fault, but whatever.
Yep. Well, here's the thing with me. Here's the thing that he created.
Look, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I mean, Tony's team is better. I'm going to say that. That's one of the reasons I'm on Team Iron Man too, is that his team is better. Okay. I'm going to have a lot of trash talking of Cap's team when this is coming up. Okay. And Cap, I'm sorry, billionaire, playboy philanthropist, and you're some capsicle in the ice. Okay. Come on.
Wow. Those are some pretty strong words.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I have, when we get to the ending, I'm cool. I'm going to let it marinate.
If you were Canadian, you'd be Dudley Do-Right of the mountains, of the Mounties. Okay, that's what you are to me. Okay, that's
you. Oh no, go ahead. Talk your talk.
That's what I said to Cap. I said if you're Canadian, you'd be Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties. That's how square you are. Okay, I'm sorry. You're not going to deal with the bad guys by yelling language at them. Okay,
but you have. Just go ahead. You did have your talk. I'm going to remember that comment. I'm going to come back to that. You have been warned, H. Boomer. Enjoy yourself. It's coming.
What is this? Sharon Carter, who was on Everwood, that actress. I remember on Everwood. With Treat Williams.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. That's right, Team Cap. It's not about the physical. It's not about the physical. It's not about the heart and the common sense. And the
common sense says, you don't go off willy-nilly and blow up towers, okay, and kill people, okay.
But he did not hoop it up and blew up towers. You don't go off and create a robot that you can't control.
Who watches The Watchmen? That's what I'm saying, okay. Who watches The Watchmen? It needs to be Thunder Secretary Ross.
No,
come on. I mean,
no.
With the Hulk, time to even the playing field. Remember that? And it's like, yeah, so I'm going to make another Hulk to go after the Hulk, and that blows up in your face. I'm sorry. I remember in the
No,
comic
just
books, wasn't what was it? Wasn't Harry Osborn was one of the people working for Iron Man in that? Didn't he get an Iron Man suit? Didn't he become the Iron Patriot?
Yeah, he got his own suit. He became he started a unit of so-called superheroes who were really supervillains for the government.
Wasn't he wearing the Green Goblin makeup underneath the suit?
Yeah. Well, that was Marvel's attempt to create their own Lex Luthor after Luthor became president in the DC Comics.
Oh, I see.
And using Harry Osborn for that, I think was a pretty big failure.
you know what this Accord controversy reminds me of? It takes me back to the X-Men movies. I don't know if we discussed that, but it does. Magneto and Professor X, because both had legitimate arguments. In the first X-Men film in 2000 with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen did not, there was some sort of accords or something to sign, and Magneto was not going to do that because Magneto felt they're only going to enslave us because we have these abilities and we're different. And when I look at Secretary Ross, I think, you know what? I can see why Magneto felt the way he did. I always, in my imagination, wonder if Eric was in this film, whose side Eric would be on. I think I would know. I know for sure he would not like Ross, and that's the vibe I get.
What you're saying, Leah, is that Aged Boomer is Magneto.
What?
Yes.
That's what I got out of that.
No. Anyway.
No, those are his resentment. I just think that the argument is similar to what we deal with Eric and Charles, because like you said, in a way, because Eric does have, I can see Eric's side as well, even though I don't like the methods he means to achieve what he wants. But I can see why he feels the way he feels. Because if you have these heroes sign these accords, meaning you go, we tell you to go, do what we tell you to do, what does that make you? You don't have any free will. So what does that do? Did you become? When you sign over your whole soul, what do you become? You almost become like Bucky. You almost become like a Winter Soldier, two sides of the coin, Shield and Hydra. So Ross, like I said, what is his motivation? It seems like it's good, but it's really not. And that's one of the reasons why I was on Cap's side, because from Cap's experience, he's thinking, you got to remember, Cap just found out Hydra infiltrated Shield. Now, I don't know if Tony ever thought about that, because Tony never makes mention of the fact that Hydra was a part of Shield. So I can see why Cap was hesitant, because, well, how do I know Ross is right? How do I know Ross is not hooked in with Shield? Because for all we know, if Cap had signed those accords, he could have had Cap put on ice like Bucky and say, when I'm ready to pull out you, Captain Rogers, I'm ready to pull you out of the ice, and you do what I tell you to do, I'll have you do that. And you don't have any free will. So in some ways I can understand that.
Yeah, what is it?
Eric.
It'd be like, well, you can't do this. I'm a citizen. No, technically, Steve Rogers died in 1943. You're not technically a citizen anymore. You can pull something like that, right?
Yes, exactly. They can. If he signed those accords, that's exactly what they could have done. They know, believe me, they know what makes those super soldiers tick. They know all about that serum and everything. So they would know if they want to put them on ice, they could.
Well, okay, but I think Cap has bad judgment in his allies. And I'm going to be bringing this up when we see the teams assembled, okay?
Okay, I'd like to hear this.
So here we got Winter Soldier, who's was, if I remember correctly, was the supervillain of the last movie.
He was not the villain.
Oh yeah, he's not the villain. He just kills a bunch of people, but he's all right. He
was.
He's just a Hydra agent, Hydra's top assassin, but he's all right.
He did not.
Oh,
He
it's not
did
his fault. I was brainwashed. Yeah.
No,
okay.
it is not his fault. It was brainwashed. He did not walk into Hydra and say, "Hey, screw my head up and make me assassin. I want to kill
Okay.
other people." He was taken against his will. He was tortured. He was brainwashed to keep him from finding out the truth. And they turned this man into a machine. They basically took his humanity away. You know, and he lost that. It wasn't like he chose to be part of Hydra. It's different if he made that choice to be part of Hydra. He didn't. They took that away from him. They took his free will away from him, and they took his life away from him and turned him into this machine. And every time he tried to remember, they would brainwash him and torture him with their brainwash machine. If you remember in the Winter Soldier film, when he remembered Steve, Robert came in and messed him up.
Even if what you're saying is true, that monster's still in him. Okay, it's like the Hulk. You know, you can't trust him. Okay.
Well, here's Black Panther being a badass again.
Yeah, Black Panther. Whose side is he on? Iron Man's. He's a king. Okay, that's impressive. Okay. What was I going to say though? I was just thinking when I was watching Bucky fighting Natasha, they might make a good couple. I was just thinking that.
In the comics, they were.
They were okay. Well, that makes sense now. Okay,
yeah,
I could see them in a relationship more than I didn't like the whole what is it, Bruce Banner thing. Okay,
well, in the comics,
I never got that. That seemed odd.
With Black Widow, made no sense to me. It made no sense that they were hinting at that.
In the comics, she did have a little fling with Dr. Banner, but not a little one. But I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like
impressed with the scene, Steve Rogers holding on to the copter. That's impressive.
Okay, as the only female here on this panel, let me say that is masculinity personified. And I was a very happy woman a lot coming out of that theater in that scene for us. I'm speaking as the female on the panel. Yes. Would love to have more of Chris Evans flexing those muscles. Many
of my female friends liked his physique. They would comment on it. Yes,
absolutely.
Other people like Thor. That was the other one. Okay,
yes.
Hemsworth. But yeah, a lot of people. Well, women do like Evans.
Yes. As female, yes, I wanted more of that. Man, I said, you don't get another helicopter scene when I went into Infinity War. I'm like, are there going to be any more pulling helicopters down and flexing muscle scenes? But yes. Oh my God.
No, I get you. Well, you know, Iron Man has his
no. I'm sorry, no, it ain't happening. No. Suit is nothing against pure-bred, homegrown, masculine muscle. I'm sorry, Iron Man, Tony. Hit the gym, but no, you can't put it in that category.
Zemo looks like a creeper, though. I'm gonna say that. I don't like him at all. Okay.
No,
I guess that's the point. He's the villain, right? Okay.
Yeah, he is
that's what they were going for.
He shouldn't be liked. I didn't like him. The wrongs don't make it right.
Here we get the teaser at the end of Ant-Man. Remember that? Yeah. Is that what we're getting at now? Yeah. Let's just say Ant-Man.
I liked the Ant-Man movie, the movie that came out before this.
Okay.
I didn't think
Ant-Man is a criminal. Okay.
Oh, they can redeem themselves.
Wow, you are really hardcore.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm going to say this.
You are definitely 3 strikes and you're out.
I was trying to explain Ant-Man to my mom, and like my mom likes the Marvel movies too, right? But she would not watch Ant-Man because she hates ants. Because we had an ant problem in the house, we finally got rid of it a while back. But she hates ants. Okay, and I was like, "Don't you want to watch Ant-Man?" No. And I'm saying, and I tried describing the character to him. Well, he's a ex-con that was sent to jail for stealing, and he was working at a Baskin Robbins. And then he gets fired from the Baskin Robbins, and he can't make his child support payments. And I'm explaining this character to him, and she says, "Why am I watching him? He's the hero." And it's like
oh my God! You actually said that about Ant-Man.
It's true. Nothing in that statement is not correct. And the guy that runs a Baskin Robbins says, "If you want to take one of those freezes in the way, I'll look the other way." And of course, he does because he's a thief. He didn't pay for that. He took it. You're not working for the company. You don't get any free berry freezes or whatever he was drinking there. I like Ant-Man's crew. Actually, they're funny. Actually,
I do not want you being in charge of my parole hearing.
Yeah.
no, man.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't either.
I didn't have anything real bad to say about Falcon, but I think I would take and decide you got to choose your friends better, pal. I know you're loyal, but come on. You get away from Cap. He's taking you down. He's going to take you down with him, okay? But like everyone else.
How is it? It's evil. He's not taking him down.
Listen,
he's
Cap
building him
is a
up.
relic from the another time. No place in this world. Come on, okay?
But Cap teaches us who we should be and that who we've forgotten to be.
You know,
that is what Cap is. What Cap is. Refuse take him down. That's what redemption's about.
Is this the Ryan Johnson moment, the subverting expectations? We're expecting to see a whole army of these Winter Soldiers, and then we get to the end. No, they're all. I killed them all. I'm Zemo. I just flooded their chambers or something. It's like, okay, because I was expecting to see
I mean,
it's gonna be the big.
They be more valuable alive than dead? I mean. You got Commando Squad.
I don't understand Zemo's motivations at all. Anything he does in this, he's kind of one of the less cool villains in this whole. Not in the comics. I'm sure in the comics he's fine. Just in this movie series, I'm not impressed with him. Okay,
he's far more wicked and I can't find the word, but he's far more of a real villain in the comics than what they did with him in this film.
I think they were not wanting him to overshadow the heroes. That's what was going on here. Yeah.
In the comics, he was that villain that I think we don't have. That evil Lex Luthor. Yeah, Lex Luthor, Zod kind of villain.
Yeah, we like those. Yeah.
Those are the ones that we're missing. Yes, Chris P., I do agree with you. Steve returns the favor, pulling Bucky out the water. I noticed that. But that's
yeah. I'm just gonna please go ahead and finish.
Oh no, I'm finished. You can go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think that Zemo was in this movie was intentionally underwritten because the main conflict is between the heroes, and if you make the villain too outright villainy or put him in the forefront, then it kind of takes away from that last conflict. So I understand why they did it. I mean, it is a really convoluted plot, and that could have failed very easily in several spots. Everything kind of had to happen right for it to work. But I understand why they didn't put him in the forefront and make him more, as you say, villainy.
Right.
That's a good point. But do you think it was a mistake to couldn't they just left Zemo out? Because I do agree the main conflict is what's going on with the heroes. Would the film still have worked without Zemo? What I'm asking.
I think it's, somehow Tony has to find out that Winter Soldier killed his parents. And somehow you have to get Black Panther's arc in this is really good, where he's all about vengeance, but he has to learn to, sometimes when you rush into that, it's not, it ends up causing more problems than not, and so he puts aside his anger and thirst for vengeance. So you have to have something that ties all of that together. They chose Zemo to do it. Maybe if they had a couple more rewrites, they could have come up with something better. But I think it's serviceable. It's not good. I don't think it's quite bad. But it's serviceable.
Maybe it just would have made sense just to not have him be Zemo and just have him be some guy no one ever heard of.
That could be. Yeah.
Yeah, just have him be some guy that was living with his family in the country, and he just and that's the thing that some nobody is taking down the Avengers, okay? Which is kind of reminds me of a Justice League episode where there was this guy who wanted to get revenge on the Justice League, and he was just some loser who worked for Lex Luthor and got sent to jail by the Justice League because he got caught guarding illegal stuff, and he wanted to get revenge on the Justice League.
Yeah.
So here we have Tom Holland seeming older in this movie than he does in the other Spider-Man movies. This is weird. I'm looking at him now. He's actually
more importantly,
more
Marissa
poised.
Tomei is on the screen.
Yeah,
So-
she's always pleasant. Yes. He seems more mature. I mean, I'm watching this. Sound
they
off.
involved him. They made him once he got his own movie. They I guess in the process, as they would probably say, of fleshing out the character, they made him a lot more awkward.
See, he seems like he's 16 or 17, and the other one he looks like he's 13. I don't understand this. That one, yeah, it's like he goes through a change. That's so weird. Okay, yeah, he looks like regular Peter Parker here. I've been picking on Tom Holland for a while now, and like, no, here he's fine. Actually, this is so weird. Okay. Oh, I don't. It's like the Hollywood idea of what a millennial is someone who's stuck in Arrested Development, like they act like they're 10 when they're 15. It's like that's what I always got the impression of how they're treating Spider-Man in these, or just the teens in these Spider-Man movies. Okay, and I don't know that is what the younger generation is like. Or Zoomers, maybe they're the Z generation at this point. But never mind. Okay,
Zootopia.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I wanted to just bring up Zootopia when you talk back about revenge. I see this theme again, and as you can see, I'm an X-Men fan, but I see the same theme in X-Men First Class. Again, Magneto and Charles, and then with Tony and Steve, and you have Zemo, and what Xavier says to Eric when Eric wants to go and get Shaw, because when Shaw did a similar thing, Shaw killed Magneto's parents, and Magneto's consumed with revenge. And then Professor X tells him, my friend, listen to me, killing Shaw will give you no peace. And he says peace wasn't an option. But I'll go into that a little more as we get deeper into film, because I look at the contrast between what Magneto does with his revenge and what, which I guess Zemo's already crossed that line in a way, but how the two handle.
I think from now on, whenever I watch the X-Men films, I'm not going to call him Magneto. I'm going to call him Boomer.
I just had a thought too, since we're bringing up the X-Men and mutants and all that. I already know what the argument is going to be in these movies. Okay, when this conflict is going on about registering and not registering, and
right,
they're going to bring up mutants. And say, well, no one says arguing that mutants shouldn't be registered. Of course, mutants need to be registered. We're not talking about just mutants here. Yeah. You understand? Like an extra level of prejudice against the mutants. They definitely have to be registered. We're talking about the real superheroes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But Magneto didn't want it. Magneto didn't want to be registered. He didn't.
Well, of course, he's not going to want to be registered. Oh, that's true. So I don't know. Well, then,
then he would be on as a child in Germany. So I think he's kind of anti being registered. Period. After
of course,
that.
And he would be a villain would be on Captain America's side. It makes perfect sense with the rest of the people. I have another one I'm going to tear apart. You guys are going to scream at me when he shows up, and I'm going to tell you it's another villain on Cap's side. You're going to get so mad at me.
You are really going after Cap's team.
I'm telling you, I like Iron Man's team.
Is not that great either.
Iron Man's team has
yes,
Vision,
yes.
The android with the mostest. Okay, is that insensitive calling him an android? Is that okay? I don't know. Okay,
no.
Okay.
I think differently personed.
Differently personed. Okay. Well, anyway. The Red Tornado of the Marvel Universe, as Troy was calling him. Anyway, we have Black Panther, who's a king. So, of course, Iron Man would associate with kings. That makes sense. Royalty. He's sort of American royalty, if you think about Tony Stark. I'm just saying. Okay. Who else is on Tony's team? Spider-Man. Who doesn't love Spider-Man? He's like everyone's favorite superhero. Okay, come on. It's like, and who else was on Iron Man's team? Black Widow. Hey, not too easy on the eyes, right? So
she's no Elizabeth Olsen.
Well, Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch is another villain. She was the villain in the last Avengers movie. She was working for Ultron. I don't understand this. Oh, I'm good now.
She because she was redeemed. People can be redeemed. Come
Redeemed.
to the right side. You are just. I would be with Zootopia. I would not want to be on parole vote with you because I think I would be in jail forever.
I'm redeemed, and I decided to kill a bunch of people. Don't worry, I'll redeem myself again. Okay.
I think Boomer's favorite phrase would just be "throw him back in the hole."
Yep.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Here we go.
Boomer
Here we
is
go.
like that.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Hawkeye. Working for Loki and first Avengers movie as a bad guy. Okay.
His fault. He was
he's brainwashed.
Brainwashed. It's not their fault.
Yes, he was. He was brainwashed. It wasn't his fault. He didn't go to Loki and said, "Sign me up." Loki put him under my spell. He put him under the spell. He was brainwashed.
Yeah, sure.
Boomer, you were like that psychiatrist in Terminator 2. When she wanted to get out, she told him, and Linda Hamilton said, "Please let me out now." And he goes, "No, you shouldn't be out." That's exactly what she did. She did all the nice things.
I don't know why I like this part, but just when Hawkeye runs away and then he just like when she stops, he then runs back. I don't know why that running back that just kind of amuses me. Of hey, we got to rewind this and talk about that. I don't know why I like that part, but it for some reason it just amuses me when he runs back.
Huh. All right. Oof. Look at Vision, man. Vision can become, and that's like, you want to talk about powers I'd like. Okay, that's the one. I can become like Phantom, like and like solid as a diamond. Okay, that's the superpower I want. Okay, there you go. Okay,
that really is density is everything.
Density. There you go. Yeah, I think that's the power I want. Walk through walls and then just or like punch through walls. Because I'll be, yeah, that's it. Look at this. Look at Wanda. Nice. Nice show of loyalty there. I'm just saying. Okay. It's fine. We're all heroes here. It's not,
Well, if you guys wouldn't try to create an oppressive government,
you know what? You're just asking you to register so we can keep tabs on what you're doing. Like when you go work for supervillains. I'm sorry.
They do not work for supervillains.
Yeah, because Hawkeye wasn't doing that in Avengers. Okay, yeah.
No,
I got touched with the magic staff. It wasn't my fault. Oh no, Hydra stuck an electric arm on me and brainwashed me. It's not my fault.
I sincerely hope nothing happens to you and you come in and say I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't do that.
By the way, would you in Iron Man 2 be okay if Tony Stark had to turn over his armor to Hydra?
Yeah.
That's different. He's a private citizen. That's private property.
No.
If you're a private citizen, it doesn't matter what, why you have to sign up for anything.
What?
If you're a private citizen, then why you got to sign up for anything at all?
Because they have powers and Iron Man doesn't. It's not fair.
Exactly.
Iron Man has all kinds of powers. He can build whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
That's his brain. That's natural gifts. It's not some freak in a canister that gets injected with something.
Charles Xavier just has a really good brain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one that was born with his abilities. Rogers was not a freak in a canister. Rogers had a good heart, built who he was, who would jump on a grenade for total strangers out of nowhere. And I know that wouldn't be Tony Stark.
Because Tony Stark values his own life too. Okay, that's something.
Well, it takes a lot. You got to have a lot of guts to put your own life on the line for people that you don't know.
They did nothing with. I'm just looking. They did nothing with Sharon Carter and Steve Rogers.
I would have done a lot with Sharon Carter. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's
again. Zootopia, back me up here.
Absolutely. I think what? I would definitely look for ways to get Sharon Carter more involved.
Yes.
Do you know when I saw this first, I thought this was
even if I had to get involved personally.
Yes.
I think I had miswatched this when I first saw this, and I thought it was Peggy Carter's daughter or granddaughter, and I was like, "Oh, did he just in? Oh, wait, but did Peggy Carter even have kids in this movie universe?" They
Two.
explain
In-
everything.
I think that they talked about in Winter Soldier that she had 2.
Yeah.
We
she
never
had
see
chil-
them. So
she had
those
children.
are those Cap's kids? We're
I
never
don't
going to
wanna
find
get-
out.
Yes.
Probably, we'll never find out.
Technically, yes.
We're never going to find
And
out.
that's the problem with Endgame's writing and what they did with Rogers. There were so many loopholes that they wrote themselves in that they didn't make sense and did not explain it. If you're writing something, even if it's science fiction or fantasy or superhero movie, you got rules. And if those rules don't make sense and you can't explain it yourself, then maybe that's an idea you don't want to go with. There are a lot of loopholes I can argue with that. And that with Captain, somebody say, well, if we do that, then basically those are his kids and he's kissing like his niece or whatever, and you sure you want to do that? And no, the audience won't notice that. Put that in there.
They
It'll go
threw
right
that
over
together
their
last
head.
minute with him staying with Peggy. They didn't know what to do. Okay.
Yeah.
What is it that they say about writing? They say if you have a third act problem, it means you have a first act problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just have him take over as head of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can always get Evans to make a cameo in future movies and have someone else be Captain America, or not even have Captain. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not thinking too much about this. So we got Ant-Man. Yay. I already said what I had to say about him. So
Goodness. Man, he's a fun character. Well, at least
by
he's
the way,
good.
the first Ant-Man basically wanted nothing to do with Howard Stark or Peggy Carter. Like, so I'm not done with the Shield. No, I'm not going to work for you. You know, come on. Where's your loyalty? Okay. There we go, Your Highness. Yeah, Black Panther. See, I'm looking at Iron Man's team. We got War Machine. Why is he? Wasn't he red, white, and blue in the? Never mind.
How
Iron
many?
Patriot.
How
I
many
think that's
sports?
Iron Patriot.
Is he back to being Iron Patriot? He's now War Machine again.
He's War Machine here.
Okay.
How many sports stories have we heard about underdogs or David versus Goliath? I can't think of any, but how many
Okay.
stories, NBA finals, Olympics, baseball, where you saw teams and you go, there's no way they're going to win that thing. This team
He's
is
not the underdog. He could have been with the big dogs. He just had to sign a little slip of paper.
No, because he didn't want to sign that paper. He didn't want to sell his soul over. He still has dignity about himself.
Whatever.
It is not good to sell your soul over completely because then you become a slave and you lose your sense of self. And no one wants that. No one wants that. They could have put him back under ice again.
You could be rich like Tony, have cool robots,
Money don't.
vintage vinyl records. Okay,
Money don't.
You got to live in your crappy apartment, Cap, and be.
Money don't make you happy. And it's a nice apartment. It serves its
sure
purpose.
it is.
It serves its purpose. Maybe one day he would find himself a nice house to live in.
Does he even have his own washer and dryer, or did he have to go
He probably
someplace
has
else?
his own washer and
Okay,
dryer.
I'm just saying. I don't know. My last apartment, I had to go walk to the thing to do. Okay, here we go. We got Ant-Man beating up Spider-Man. We got the insects attacking each other. Or I guess it's not. It's arachnids versus
Spider's
insects.
not an
Never
insect.
mind. I know it's an arachnid. We have to watch Arachnophobia someday. Anyway,
It's got a good score by Trevor Jones.
yeah, it'd be a good one to rewatch. Anyway, Spider-Man took the shield. Cap's got it back, beating up Black Panther. You need to bow. He's royalty, okay?
See,
But they
There's
become-
the core.
Black
They
Panther's
become-
being a badass again. He's like, move. I'm not going to ask a second time.
Yes.
What happened to that? Where'd that go?
Where did normal teenage Peter Parker go and we get the Spider Boy? Okay, I don't. That was Sony too. That was Sony. I'm not even necessarily blaming Disney for that one. That was probably Sony saying, "Nah, you got to change things up here. Make him play with Legos with his friend." Okay, it's like no. I wasn't playing with Legos in high school. I mean, I wanted to, but I knew better. Okay, it's like, I gave up on that in early middle school. Okay, no more Legos because you're gonna get.
They make
that.
Legos for
no
adults.
judging anyone who still plays with Legos. I would still do. Okay, if I had the space for them. Okay, anyway.
Maybe you should have people who play with Legos sign up on a register.
You know something?
Yeah, because people that play with Legos are just kind of creepy, aren't they?
You know what?
Yeah.
After this week's news, maybe it's too soon. They're gonna have My Little Pony fans registering soon, probably. Okay, I'm sorry, too soon.
Oh.
Not funny. I'm getting Daniel's getting. Okay, well, here we go. Hawkeye.
Oh,
Don't even get me started. If he's the Green Arrow, don't get me started. The Green Arrow in DC. Don't like him either. Okay. All right, here we go. WandaVision is let's be blunt. She's a witch, and witches are monsters as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
Okay, now listen. Listen here. In the comics, Wanda is a mutant. She's a mutant in the comics. The idea of putting her in the Avengers was to bring in the X-Men into the Avengers universe. And she's powerful. And she's a powerful mutant with powers she didn't let loose now, but that she could show a lot what she could do and what you can see she can do in Infinity War. So that doesn't necessarily make her bad. She uses her powers for good. In this movie,
it would have been interesting if she had been the one to take down Thanos, because she's very powerful.
She could have.
She could have. Yeah.
Didn't Nebula do it in the comics? That would have been more interesting.
She killed him. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been more interesting. That would have made more sense for her character too. But anyway,
the two most powerful mutants in the X-Men universe, I think, are Wanda and the Phoenix, aka Jean Grey. When she becomes the Phoenix, Phoenix is pretty powerful as well. There's a lot of damage that the Phoenix can do. The cartoons really show just how powerful Jean Grey is when she becomes the Phoenix.
That's true.
Unfortunately, the last X-Men movie was not very good.
Awful.
Oh, awful.
Absolutely terrible. I
didn't see it.
I actually cut the X movie slack, but that was bad. Just that was worse than the third one.
Yeah,
I think
that was way stepped down. I thought the third one was bad, but I thought, well, they'll rebound for the
third one had its moments at least. That one was just not fun. It wasn't fun.
I agree 100%.
Well, yeah, I think that's it. Is that I mean, the new Dark Phoenix was a remake of that third movie, and you would think that they would learn from their mistakes and make it better, but they didn't.
They have a hard time adapting that storyline to film. They seem to cannot get that storyline of the Phoenix then become Dark Phoenix. They can't get it together for some reason. I think it's because they don't tell the Phoenix. You have to tell the Phoenix story first before you get to the Dark Phoenix. And they skip over when she's just Phoenix and still Jean Grey before you get to the Dark Phoenix totally consuming her. Yeah. They miss. Maybe that's the problem.
Well, the original concept of Chris Claremont storyline in the comic books, I mean, it was a complete analogy of a girl growing up and going through puberty and learning, going from being a girl to being a woman. And neither of those movies really address that. And that's kind of what made it a classic comic book, was that girls could read that and relate. You can't watch those movies and relate.
I agree.
They tried it a little bit more in Dark Phoenix with the Jean Grey character, but it for some reason it just didn't work.
I agree with you. The comic and the X-Men cartoon did it beautifully. They paced it beautifully in the X-Men cartoon. You got it in the X-Men cartoon when they tackled it, but when it got to the big screen, it just felt totally to pieces. I totally agree with you with that. That's a good analogy, because I always wondered why I liked that storyline so much. Despite the outcome for Jean Grey, it still was a good story arc. A good story arc in that way. But the films just.
No, go ahead.
The films just couldn't get it together.
Yeah, it's a story of about a girl finding herself and becoming a woman, and they just don't. I don't know why they're not able to tell that story, but neither movie's been able to do it.
Right.
Can I get a timestamp? Sorry, I got messed up here.
136:44.
Thank you.
If you had told me 20 years ago that there would be 2 Ant-Man movies and they would both be like highly entertaining, I never would have believed you.
Well, I was kind of iffy about it. I was like, how are you going to make Ant-Man good? But they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the same thing when I went in to see Ant-Man. I didn't think I would like it, but I came out liking it. I call it my surprise because I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy it with what's his name as playing the title character. but Paul Rudd. But you know what? He did a good job. I have to agree. I came out of it like, you know what? That wasn't bad. That's one I really enjoyed. That's one of the ones I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean it's really rewatchable. I mean it's one
It
that
is,
you can
yes.
watch 10, 12 times and be entertained by it every time.
Yeah, I've watched it. I have a copy of it. I've watched it several times. I'm still entertained by it when I watch it. That's very true. Not all of them are, but that one is I would agree on that.
Did we get to the line? I'm from Queens. You're from Brooklyn yet?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
not
that.
quite.
Yes, we got that.
Which, by the way, I mean this airport scene stands in contrast to how they do the Justice League movie when they're fighting Superman. The conflict with them is analogous, I think, and but this one is so much more. Hey, this is how I would use my power in a battle against somebody else who has these powers, and instead of Justice League, where it's just I'm going to pound on you,
Exactly.
until somebody wins, and I just think that they really thought through how would someone use their powers in a fight and film the action scene very well.
I totally agree with you. Even though, again, I had mixed emotions. I'm an old-fashioned girl, and it was kind of heartbreaking to see them fight each other like that and realize they're not as they're how easily they've slipped into fighting each other so quickly. I do get your point, and that's why I think this film works better than Batman versus Superman for the very reason you just said. Again, the writing, very, very meticulous with the writing, and the writers of Batman vs Superman didn't think about that. They just thought, they thought like they wanted to make it like the Justice League cartoons. Let's have them smash into buildings and stuff like they do in the cartoon. Audiences will really like that.
Yeah.
They they just didn't think that through.
It's how adults think cartoons really are like when they're really actually a lot deeper.
Yeah.
And so Batman v Superman was just a lot more, and Justice League was a lot more surface level. I mean,
You're right. Yeah, I agree.
You can say Zack Snyder has all of these ideas and stuff, but when it comes down to it, he doesn't see them, I don't think, as real people.
I agree.
Yep.
That's why I never liked his take on DC characters for the very reason you just said. He doesn't see them as people, whereas Marvel, the Russos saw them as people. I think that's what the Russos did, and why it worked.
It's why I was drawn. At the time when I was a kid, I didn't realize why I was comics and those storytellings. But Spider-Man is my favorite character, but it's not because I like Spider-Man. It's because I like Peter Parker. And it's not. I don't like Captain America because of Captain America. I like him because of Steve Rogers. And same thing for all those characters. You can have all the cool powers and you can have the cool gadgets, but if you don't have a core person that someone can like, it just doesn't work. And that's why when we get to a Civil War movie, you feel a lot more for me. I mean, Wanda fighting Vision, you feel that a lot more than when you have Wonder Woman taking on Batman or Superman or something in for the first time that they meet.
Agreed. Yep. I absolutely agree with that. That's the secret sauce that I think that's why this film did better when Batman versus Superman came out. As was said, Warner Brothers thought Batman versus Superman or Justice League would do better box office wise because those characters are more popular. Those are kind of A-list characters. Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Who knows Captain America and Iron Man and Thor. So for the very reason that Marvel did is they took the time to develop the person. Not just the powers, but the people. And like you said, it was Zack Snyder. He didn't see them as people. He didn't looking at.
Well, yeah, and this movie's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
The Snyder movies aren't fun.
In this movie.
There's daylight. There's colors. I heard that the theatrical version of Batman versus Superman, I've only seen the Snyder cut of that one where they had because I got it out from the library on Blu-ray, and they had the extended version. I heard that the theatrical cut's even worse because like you're missing transitions that make sense. And I think there's even a scene in it when Congress blows up. I think it's Congress that blows up in that movie, and Superman just flies off. Whereas in I think the other cut, he's at least saving people from the wreckage. But can you imagine that? Superman's not going to do anything. I'm just going to fly off after. Like
that's what people.
That's a what?
Yeah, like you said, there's lots of colors, not grays and blacks and browns that Snyder seems to really love. But
you got giant Ant-Man. I mean, come on. It's
yeah.
I'm picking on Ant-Man a minute ago. I'm not picking on him now because this is awesome. He can make himself giant.
And for the life of me, I cannot understand why in Batman v Superman, why in the world would you mash up The Dark Knight Returns with the death of Superman and also introduce Wonder Woman and every single Justice League character? Why in the world would you put that in all one movie?
Because it's what the audience wants.
It's 9 movies.
It's what the audience wants.
Yeah. It's exactly what I thought when I was sitting there watching it. Boy, do I want this.
No, Boomer, you're thinking like the producers. The audience want that. Don't worry. They won't realize we mashed up all that in there. They don't have the intelligence. Once we see them do all of that and smash things up, they'll love it. That's how they were thinking.
They want Superman to die.
Yeah.
After being mopey and depressed and not smiling, okay? It's like...
Yes, that's Zootopia. You just made one of the many reasons that movie sucked. Was the very reason I felt the same thing. I'm like, there's Wonder Woman here, there's Death of Superman, there's Dark Knight, there's Dark Knight, whatever. I said all that's missing is the Joker popping up out of nowhere. Yeah, I should say might as well. Yeah, I was wondering. I was waiting for that to happen. I said the Joker will pop up somewhere for no reason. I'm just here. You know,
they could have had well, they sort of, in a way, he does because they have that scene where Batman's looking at the Robin suit, and written on the Robin suit is "This time, Batman, the joke's on you." And I guess it was a reference to when he killed
Death in the Family. Yeah,
Death in the Family. Yeah, killed Robin. Yeah.
Now, speaking about getting killed, if Brody had died here, what difference would it have made?
I would not have liked that. This is already dark enough. No.
If who would have died?
Brody. War Machine. Yeah, I wouldn't have felt good about that because this is pretty intense here. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think that would mess up some of the. I mean, how would Tony ever really forgive Falcon? I mean,
it would never happen.
He wouldn't just shoot him and have him fall back. He'd probably shoot him and cut him in half.
Well, look how angry he is right now at Falcon, though. Falcon looks mortified at what happened. Okay, he's not,
Well, that's what I mean by, this fight I understand what was written, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Some people thought, yeah, the Avengers fighting the Avengers, that's going to rock. But to me, I thought it was heartbreaking to see that, to see what they were becoming. Nobody stopped to say, look at what we're doing to ourselves.
It's all funny. It's all fun when Spider-Man's making his quips and when Ant-Man turns into the giant man or whatever. And then it's not so funny when someone's getting really hurt. Okay. And it's
right.
You realize this is really stupid. Okay. That this is all happening. And it's sort of being orchestrated by one man, this Zemo character.
They don't see that they're basically pawns on a chessboard of Zemo. They don't realize that they are dancing to his music. They're not stopping saying, wait a minute, we're becoming everything that we're not because of this man. And we didn't stop to think about that.
Well, do they even, well, maybe they do at this point. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen this, but it's sometimes the nobody that's the greatest villain, which is why I don't think it should have been Zemo. It should have just been some nobody, but yeah.
Some random guy and not Zemo. So Zemo could be developed more as a good villain than he was in this film.
It's what people complained about the Mandarin, the fact that they used the Mandarin like that, and I think they're going to bring him back now for that.
The Shang-Chi film.
Have y'all seen the Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi or whatever? I don't speak Chinese.
The trailer. It didn't look bad. I didn't like the comedic stuff toward the end of the trailer. I'm like, why does Marvel always have to do this? It's especially lately. It's like they're afraid if there's not enough comic touches. Because at that point, it looked like a Bruce Lee type movie. That's what I was thinking. You know, it's like martial arts, that sort of thing. It didn't look bad, but I don't know. But did anybody else see the trailer?
Yeah,
I
saw it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Which thinks Zootopia?
I thought it was fine. It didn't really. There wasn't anything that really caught me or anything. I mean, it seemed more like a. It leaned toward more of toward Doctor Strange territory, which
Yes.
I think is kind of a formulaic more Marvel movie. You know, it was good, but it was kind of like, okay, we just got to crank out another one.
That's what it reminded me of when I saw the trailer for Doctor Strange. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
It was fine.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it didn't really get me excited the way I used to when I saw a Marvel trailer. I actually liked the Doctor Strange trailer because it interests me in this character that is very, very different from the Avengers because he's more into the metaphysical. But this film was like, I'm like you. I'm in the middle. It's not bad, but it didn't get me excited. I do understand. I hated what happened at the end. Why do they always throw in the silly stuff? If they didn't throw in the silly stuff, it might have intrigued me, but I have to wait to get more information on it. But I didn't feel any excitement like I normally do when I see a Marvel trailer. So it's kind of like I'm lukewarm to it. I have to wait as we get closer to the movie to see if I get more excited about it.
The trouble with it is that Marvel kind of, for starters, it feels directionless right now. That's another thing I've noticed. Like, are you going to be building toward anything in the future? Or are you just going to be doing a bunch of standalone movies, which may not be terrible, but at the same time, it's we lost all these big heroes that we cared about. What are they being replaced with? And it's, I don't know. We'll see.
I think you have a point. I think they are stuck right now. And they really don't know what direction to go in because I also think that they are missing the Tonys, the Steves, they're missing those characters, and we're left with these. They're likable, but they're sort of C and D list characters.
And unfortunately, unfortunately, they're missing Black Panther right now too because unfortunately the actor passed away, and I thought he was going to be one of the big replacement characters they were going to go with for the next, and then I don't know what they're planning to do with Black Panther now at this point. I've heard things.
Yeah, they're stuck right now. Had Chadwick not passed away, unfortunately, I think he would have been a really big star in the MCU, a really big one because we liked him as T'Challa and he embraced that character so well. Yeah. But I think right now I think they're stuck. I think now they realize with Endgame they wrote themselves in a corner. I really think so. I think they wrote themselves in a corner.
The 5-year thing was dumb. It keeps.
I think, yeah.
How would you have done Endgame instead of the 5-year gap and going back in time to get the stones? How would you have
maybe reset the timeline so what happened didn't happen? I don't know. I mean, of course they said we can't do that, even though it happened on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that canon or not? They never made a decision there because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually, after Infinity War, they didn't know how to deal with it, so they just didn't pay attention to it. That's what they.
I would have approached Endgame like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and Return of the Jedi. I would approach it as I wouldn't have made a 5-year gap. I would not have done that. I would have either picked up where they left off, whether it be weeks or maybe 6 months, but not 5 years. And I would have approached it in a sense of right now. That's what I can think of. So I think about Return of the Jedi and see what I would have done is I would have approached Infinity War. Like The Empire Strikes Back at the end. Now, at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, if you notice, a lot of people don't notice this. When you look at when they're on that medical freight being taken care of, and you see Luke Skywalker in his face after he gets his new arm. There's this sense of, I'm going to make a comeback. I got a confidence. Okay, you guys knocked me down. You won this round, but I will guarantee you I'm coming back. And when I'm coming back, be ready for me. And I could see that even though he goes to console Leia because she's just lost Han, who she confessed she's in love with, but now he's gone. So she's probably knocked down herself.
Right.
But there is just this look in his eyes after he gets that arm that and then you hear Lando saying, Leia, we're going to find that bounty hunter and we're going to find Han. So
plus Lando's helping them out now too.
Yeah, Lando is there helping him out. They are coming together, but Luke just has this look like, okay, you got me here, but I guarantee you I'm coming back. And bam, we get into Return of the Jedi. We go right into it. We get the scroll and we go right into them going to Jabba's first job, number one. We got to go rescue Han. And they go right into it. They got their plan together. Then Luke Skywalker, that great moment, which I love, comes back and he is full Jedi. He's got his training. He's a Jedi now. He is ready to use his powers. Okay. That is how I would have approached Endgame. I mean, after Infinity War, I would have jumped right into it, but I wouldn't have ended it. I would have given some message that we knocked down. We're going to find a way to come back. We're going to find a way to come back, and we got to come back together. That's what I would have done, and then go right into it. But I would not have written a 5-year gap. That's the first thing I would get rid of. That's got to go. And then we would fight trying to find a way to put those stones back and undo what we've done. Ain't gonna be no old Cap. I don't care what nobody say. That ain't happening. That's not gonna happen. There's not gonna be an old Cap. No, it ain't gonna be no. I go back on. I'm getting old. I would throw that person, if they said that, I would throw that person right out the room. Darth Vader chokehold on that guy.
Well, I'm going to say this. What you were describing with Luke about making the comeback, that's almost the opposite of what they did with Thor.
Right.
Thor ain't making no comeback. He's like worse than he was before. Like, he was in bad shape in Infinity War, but I kind of cut slack on that because I'm like, he's actually had a lot of bad stuff happen to him, and he's trying to be up to, keep his sense of self, but he's actually had a lot of losses recently, if you think about it. But then they have him go off the rails in Endgame, and that nobody liked that. Even the other characters are making fun of him and like being disappointed. It's not good.
I see what you're saying. I went along with it too for a while because I thought he's going to come back. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. And I'm waiting. I don't get that Thunder God that I got that slammed that hammer down in Wakanda in Infinity War. I said, where is that guy? I want that Thunder God back. Never got him back. But in Return of the Jedi, Luke didn't look defeated. That's the point I'm saying in The Empire Strikes Back. Even after look at all he went through. He found out the worst man in the world is his real father. He lost an arm. He's emotionally and physically beaten, but he's not knocked down. And that is what they missed. And that's what I always take from Empire Strikes Back. Because a lot of people don't notice that at the end. They're like, oh, that end. I said, no, you got to look at the look on Luke Skywalker's face. You got to look at how the scene is set up. So I sat there in that theater going, oh, I know Return of the Jedi gonna rock because they're already setting it up that we'll be back and we're gonna fix this and we're gonna have a plan and we're going after that Empire and Luke, and also what Luke has to face as well. So I would have approached it with that spirit. That's how I would have approached it. That Thanos knocked us down, but we're gonna find some way to come back. We're going to come together and we're going to fix this right. Because if you think about it, after this movie, the Avengers never really come together. This movie, they never really come back together until Endgame. And that's sort of the sad.
That final scene, because even in Infinity War, they're split up.
Yes.
Some are doing stuff out in space, the others are doing stuff on Earth, and it's.
Yeah, Cap and Iron Man never have a scene together.
It's sad.
Right.
They should have had like a reconciliation or like a thing. Yeah.
That's what they should have had. Like again, Return of the Jedi. When we go into Return of the Jedi, they get back together when they in Empire Strikes Back. They you got Luke and Leia but Han Lando is on their team now. He tells her he's in the Millennium Falcon with Chewie because he don't want to fly it. And he tells Leia that we're going to find that bounty hunter. We're going to find Han. Leia, we're going to find him. And they do exactly that. So when we get to Jedi, we know that they've joined back together again. Especially when Luke comes back from Dagobah and he tells them he's going to join them on the mission and they're going to get back together. So we got the team back together.
Mhm.
We didn't get that. And that I always felt that this was missing. We did not get that. And that's the sad thing about this film. As you said, they never got back together. They never made amends. They never said, we're never going to allow this to ever happen again. We're never going to let the Avengers be split apart like this again. We don't get any of that. We don't. So that's some of the changes I would have said. I mean, you can say what you want about Lucas. I still like the way he paced Return of the Jedi.
Right. But here we have what do we have? We have I have to say this for these movies. Captain America looks like Captain America. Iron Man looks like Iron Man. They weren't embarrassed of the comics when they were making these movies, at least, right? I mean, you're probably more of a comic expert on this than I'm. Zootopia, though, but I mean,
definitely. I mean, the Iron Man. I really like the way that they do the Iron Man suit because it never looks hokey. It doesn't. It looks like it could actually be a workable suit of armor, and I really like the Winter Soldier's arm. I think that they just did a really good job of integrating that and making it look like it's an arm. The only thing I would say about Captain America's suit is if you look at kind of how Joss Whedon had that suit for Avengers, and compare it to Winter Soldier and the first Captain America movie in this one. The Joss Whedon Avengers one is probably a little bit more comics book accurate than what this is, but this is a situation I think where the costume designers made very good changes, and it looks something that someone would wear in the real world if they were a superhero. So yeah, I do like the updated Captain America costume.
Yeah, I agree. I love the way the costume designer designed all of the heroes in this film. I like the fact that the hair and costume department did a good job making these actors look like their comic book counterparts. My favorite suit is still the suit Cap wore in Winter Soldier, but I do see what you're saying. It does look very practical and looks very Cap. So I would agree, even with their hair, excuse me, the hair and makeup. I do agree. The Iron Man suit doesn't look hokey at all. It doesn't look cosplay. It really looks like, he really built that thing. And that's one thing I think also doesn't get enough praise is the costume designers for these Marvel films. They did a good job bringing them to life, because I've heard people say what you come to see is you've come to see, you want to see that Iron Man suit, or you want to see Cap in, the famous red, white, and blue suit. And I think for the most part, they do that. Even with Doctor Strange, I loved how they made Benedict Cumberbatch look like Doctor Strange. He jumped out the comics. Yeah. So
the Doctor Strange's costume is really good.
Yeah, he jumped right out the comics. So they do a good job with their costumes.
And I do appreciate that. And I think one of the things I always disliked about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man or the older Batman movies is that they always end up taking off their mask or end up tearing their mask or something, so that, and I understand in movies it's because you want to see an actor's eyes, that they act through their eyes, but that in this one, when Spider-Man first comes on, they actually they digitally do his eyes so that they get bigger and smaller, so that they're acting with those eyes, and it's something that I appreciate, because I always prefer to see Spider-Man with his mask on,
right?
But they're still able to get that expression to come out of it.
Right, I agree.
And by the way, this scene, or they're up here now to the scene that if you watch this scene and then you go and watch the Batman v Superman Martha scene, you will see this done right by Marvel and how it's done wrong by DC, because they're both suddenly figuring out something about their mothers that is bad for them, but Marvel handles it and earns it in a way that DC doesn't. And you can tell me how popular Batman and Superman is, and that's why it's going to make $1 billion. but that's not the reason. It's because you come to care about these people, and you come to care about the characters. And Marvel did it in movie 15, whereas DC tried to do it in movie 2.
Agreed.
Notice here how Howard Stark's saying Sergeant Rhodes, like he's not understanding what's happening here. That's not coming across probably in the VHS on the video that they're looking at, but yeah, that he knew him. That's the weird.
Yeah,
thing.
he recognizes him.
Yeah.
And this, by the way, I mean, you don't realize it when you in Winter Soldier, but when he's talking and he finds out that Hydra is still alive, and then he sees the headline that Howard Stark kills, and he says, we arranged that and all that, it pays off now because Cap did know it, but he obviously he didn't tell Tony.
Yeah.
I often think, what do you think Bruce Wayne would say to Tony Stark? Because and now I'm not thinking the Snyder Batman, but maybe the Batman animated series Batman, because both of these characters lost their parents tragically. Tony, I guess, lost his tragically, but Bruce Wayne lost his parents as well. They were shot in front of him.
Right.
Yet they seem to handle the tragedy differently. So I always wondered what if they were in the same universe, what would Bruce Wayne or what would Batman say to Iron Man about losing a parent tragedy?
Well, there's a big difference here, though, because if I'm to remember correctly, as up until a little while ago, Tony just thought they died in a car accident, correct?
Correct, yes.
So he's just finding out his parents have been murdered. Bruce had years and years to process that as a kid going into adulthood. That's a big difference. That's what I'm thinking is going on here. Like Iron Man did not become Iron Man to avenge his parents, you understand, or to stop crying. Well, I mean, he did later on, but it wasn't out of his family tragedy was thought to be accidental, and now we find out here, oh no, it was a murder. Okay. So I think that's the major difference. And if you remember, even back, I mean, some people don't like the Nolan films, but what was a young college age Bruce Wayne? His first inclination was to take a gun and shoot the guy that shot his parents after he was coming out of trial. Remember?
Yeah.
And someone beats him to it.
Yes,
now, again, that's not. I don't know if
yes.
that's comic accurate, but if we're going even by those movies, he was thinking about doing the same thing. Okay. I think the problem with revenge is, especially when someone gets one of your loved ones, is it's very easy to fall over. I mean, there's a line in Batman Mask of the Phantasm where Alfred says, the difference between you and Andrea was you were, I don't know, like you were over like you were leaning, I don't know the exact line, but like you were leaning over that abyss, but I thank heaven you never fell in. Okay. Like he never gave in to vengeance, but there was always a fear of Alfred's,
Right. And I also thought, isn't that something in The Dark Knight Rises? Is that something similar to what Joker says to Bruce in jail about the difference between them two, or I can't remember the line exactly. One kill away from revenge or something like that, or I can't remember it word for word.
Yeah, neither do I.
But Joker kind of played on him with that a little bit, that you're one gut shut way of becoming like me, or something on that line. I don't know the whole quote, but something on that line Joker says to Batman, if I remember that in Dark Knight between them.
I need to rewatch The Dark Knight. It's been ages.
It's something like that. I just brought it up because I like to compare and contrast what the motivations, because they're both billionaires. And they both use technology in a way to fight crime. Wayne doesn't have a suit, but he does find a way to use some to do the gadgets that he needs to do what he has to, to fight the bad guys.
That's the thing. I don't know if there really is quite obvious analogs between Batman and Iron Man in their respective universes. That's the thing when I think about it. Like there are others I can see more clearly. Like I said, like Ant-Man would be the Atom, right? in the DC world, okay.
This I remember watching this scene in the movie theater, and just you could hear a pin drop as the two of them are fighting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the same way in the theater I was in.
Yeah, people were just like, I don't want to be seeing this. I don't want this to be happening right now, and yet it is. And in that shot of Iron Man shooting Cap's shield, I mean that's an image that is taken straight out of the comic books. They really did that well.
Now, see, I do think they worked Black Panther in well here. Okay, so he's going after the real villain of this movie, and Black Panther is the one wanting revenge. A lot of this is about revenge, and he's realizing I think what he's thinking is I don't want to become this man. Okay, so I don't know. Let me see what he exactly says. Yeah.
It's like revenge has consumed you as it's consuming them. It will no longer consume me.
Because in the end, revenge, even though then again, same thing with Magneto in First Class when he gets revenge on Sebastian Shaw, but he goes through with it and kills it, but never really found the peace that Xavier was warning you about. Because the thing about revenge, it may feel good at the time, but when it's over, when you come off of it, it didn't serve you any purpose. And it's hard, and that's what I think separates the heroes from the villains in a way, because the hero will know that revenge will not get me any kind of peace whatsoever. And to a villain, revenge is I don't want that peace, because I keep killing over and over again because I never have it. So you have to show the difference between the two when it comes to that. And even with Magneto in First Class, because Magneto gets his revenge, but does he really get the peace that he really wants? Is he always seeing those same? Does he always see the same face every time he sees humans? Does he always see Sebastian Shaw every time he sees humans?
Well, he seemed to be at peace a little bit in the beginning of X-Men Apocalypse. I know some people hate that movie too. I kind of like it though. But there's he's married and he has a daughter and he's working like in I think like a mill somewhere, right? Like a steel mill. Okay, right. and that's just what he's doing now, and I think he's given it up. He just wants to be, have his family and be left alone. Okay. And then, of course, tragedy strikes him again.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes. Yeah, it strikes him again. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I did like that scene, too, because when the Polish police are surrounding him, they have bows and arrows. Because, of course, that makes perfect sense. Why would they have a gun? They know better. Okay.
Yes, they know. You're right. Yes. They know what he can do. Yeah, yes. Exactly. Because you talk about villains, I think if how short that fight would be if Magneto was on Cap's team.
He still took him out because the
if Eric was on Cap's team in that fight at the airport, I'm like, that's going to be a very short fight.
No, he's that's a pretty good power to control metal, basically. I mean, Iron Man would be in trouble. Okay,
Iron Man, Rhodey. And
I'm sure that's happened in the comic books. They have Magneto fight Iron Man at all.
Yeah, I don't know. That would have
been interesting. That would have been interesting to see.
That would have been very. I think that was I would be scared for Tony.
Yes,
because he controlled the metal.
Yeah,
I was scared for Tony, Rhodey, and Sam and Falcon because his wings are made of metal. Would be in some pretty big trouble.
And Iron Man has to make a plastic suit.
Yeah.
I want to say something here. I heard in like the last episode of the Winter Soldier Falcon show that not Captain America decapitated a dude with the shield.
What? Say that again?
And like last week's episode of
the new Captain America on the Falcon.
Yeah, the new
Winter
Captain
Soldier
America.
Show.
Yeah.
Decapitated a guy with the shield.
Yeah, the U.S. agent. Yeah, or whatever he's called. Yeah, they do, and a lot of people didn't like that. I didn't like that either. I'm like, what are they doing? John Walker.
They're trying. They can't really tarnish Steve Rogers, but maybe they can tarnish the name of Captain America. I don't know what the point is. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what that was about too. I said the same thing. What are they doing?
It might be that they want to make the Falcon Captain America, but they have to. They realize at the end of Endgame you can't just do that right away because it doesn't make sense. but even still, I don't know. I'm not going to be watching it, but yeah.
John Walker he has a comic book storyline. So
yes, he was called the U.S. agent at the time when he was sort of temporary Cap. But I think he also had title to the U.S. agent. Well, the U.S. agent is what I told him. I don't really much more about him, but because after Cap is killed up in the comics, I lost interest until they got to Bucky as Captain America. And I have to be honest, that was a great storyline. I didn't own the comic, but a guy at my job had it, and he let me read it, and I couldn't put it down. It was a really good storyline of Bucky as Cap. I really enjoyed it. I was like, I couldn't stop turning the page, and the artwork was great too. It was a great storyline because in that comic, when Bucky is Cap, Tony Stark is still alive. Because it's Tony Stark in the comic that actually tells Bucky to become, to take up the shield for Steve Rogers and become the new Cap. He arranges it. He reaches out to Bucky to have him to become the new Cap, which is very interesting in the comics because Tony is still alive in the comics.
Playing Devil's Advocate, would you have been happier with Captain America using the Infinity Gauntlet and sacrificing his life at the end game to stop Thanos? Or would that have bothered you as well? I don't know.
Well,
it's something Cap would probably do.
I do. I that's a tricky one for me because that would have been an honorable death. I would cry, but it would have been more honorable because that would have been true to the character of Steve Rogers. That's true to who he was, instead of what they did to him. Because what they did to him in Endgame was not true to Steve Rogers at all. Steve Rogers was just not up and go and abandon himself to go back in the past, not to have all these superpowers and not do anything, to live an ordinary life with a woman that he really didn't get to really know. He liked, but really didn't get to really know, and then abandon all that he had in front of him, all that he had. Just like you guys said, he could have stayed and started a new life with Sharon Carter. So what you're saying is would have hurt it, but I would have accepted it because he would have died the true hero that he was. So that would have made more sense in a way. That would have been acceptable death, because that would have been true to who he was. Kind of reminds me of this episode of I don't know if anybody used to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, and there was this episode called Tapestry with Picard, where Picard died, but Q brought him back, and Q told him that he could go back and fix all the regrets he's ever had, and you will live in that timeline of fixing those regrets. So Picard goes and does that, but he finds he's unhappy in that timeline. He's not happy at all. He tells Q that I'd rather die the man I was than live the life of what I just saw. I'd rather just die right now. So in some ways, Q, in his own twisted way, was teaching Picard a very interesting lesson. That's one of my favorite Star Trek episodes, actually.
A lot of people like that one.
How many of us have sat and said, if only I go back and I could just fix everything, how happy would I have been? And then you realize that some things that happen in your life are meant to happen. But when he went back, and did that, and I figured that's like with somehow they should do that with Cap or something, Loki or something, show Cap that this life you have chosen living in the past couldn't possibly make you happy, because Picard was not happy. He fixed everything, but he didn't make Captain. The other guy made Captain. He was a secondary character, and he hated it. He said, I had that man had no passion, no drive. I hated what I saw. So that's a good episode. A classic episode. I always like that one.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get off on a Picard tangent, but we're getting Q back in the new season, and maybe he can fix the series.
Right.
Anyway, so here are we at the moment where Tony's reading the letter?
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that he wrote. He explained himself in the letter.
I think he feels bad. I'm not going to say this for Cap America. I think he says I should have told you. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he realizes, Cap isn't perfect. Okay. And he's acknowledging that. I should have told Tony. Maybe if he had, maybe this wouldn't have happened. So maybe, and it's also dumb. Whose side are we on? We're on all their sides. We're not on one person's side. Come on. We don't want them fighting each other.
Right. That's what I said in the film. And then you have to realize he gave up his shield to protect Bucky. That's another big thing, you know. Tony told him that shield's not yours. My father make it for you, and he said, "Okay, you want it, you can take it." So that just shows you that he's not that he's not enslaved to that shield. That shield doesn't make him who he is. But I will not abandon my friend. I won't leave him, and I got to respect that. I got to respect that. That takes a lot of love to give up the Avengers. Being the Avengers for this one man that nobody likes, that everybody hates, but I am not abandoning this guy. I'm not leaving him. I'm choosing him over the Avengers. I always felt that was a big moment that's been underscored. That people like, you guys realize what he just did. He gave up the Avengers for this one man. I get how many of us would have done that, you know?
Well, they do set it up though in Winter Soldier how he had Bucky was a true friend to him when he was at his worst in his life, so that's what friends do.
Exactly. Yep. That's this.
And then you also realize that the end of this movie is the last scene that Cap and Iron Man have together until Endgame.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, that's why I think it's sort of it's not like The Empire Strikes Back. There's a very difference between the ending of Empire Strikes Back and this ending, and that's the tragedy. I agree with you guys. They never make up. And I thought maybe they made a little too far with that. I think that was too dark of writing. I think they should have had some makeup point at some point, but that's the writing there for you. I think sometimes writers feel if something isn't totally dark or dark ending or dark chapter, it's not good. You can have dark elements. I'm not saying you can never have that, but sometimes you can go so far, you can turn the audience off because it was dead quiet in the theater where I was in. Whereas in Winter Soldier, people were on their feet. Very different reaction from the audience in the Winter Soldier film.
More of a somber movie, I'll say that. Of course, we have he's gonna have the Wakanda scientists look at him, right, to see if they can fix whatever's in his head. I actually give him points for that. He's in a way trying to turn himself in. He just doesn't want to be executed. I think that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe just let a Black Panther take care of things.
Yeah, and to hide him out there, like he tells them, they find him. No, they're not going to find him while he's hiding here. They're not going to find him.
But I remember being excited for the prospect of a Black Panther movie. I always liked the character in the comics. I always associated more with the Fantastic Four than with the Avengers. But I thought they did Black Panther very well in this movie, and I was looking forward to the movie.
I was too. Itself. And then I saw the movie.
I was too. Yes, that was the silver lining of this film. That was the silver lining. It's a somber film, but with the ending getting us pumped for Black Panther, I was excited, like you guys. And I saw the movie and thought, okay, but
yeah, that's how I felt. It's watchable. Andy Serkis annoying me to death, especially when he was doing the "What Is Love" thing in the interrogation. It's like, no, I know they're trying to be funny, but it's weird.
Yeah,
I don't like that. But yeah, like you said, they didn't portray Claw properly or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. All right, so we got the credits now. Oh, what do you think of the score, Daniel?
I like it. I think it's a good continuation from the Winter Soldier. I'm glad they brought Henry Jackman back.
Would you recommend? You're waiting for that 3-disc edition to come out or something, right? Though
I am. If I could figure out a way to copy stuff off YouTube onto a CD, that'd be
all right.
I would do that, and I'd also buy it if it got released tomorrow. For like $40. Just throwing that out there. Anyone who's got the rights and can print CDs for me. The Disney soundtracks for the Marvel movies, it seems like they make an initial print run and then that's it. And if you don't buy it when it comes out, you're looking at about $100. Yeah. All the Thor soundtracks from first one and the second one, the Captain America soundtracks. If you didn't buy them when they came out, You're gonna spend some money for them today. I looked this afternoon. This soundtrack on Discogs is going for about $100.
Wow.
There's one for 100. There's one for 90, and they're both shipping from overseas. Yeah. So I don't know why they don't make them more available, but they don't.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. I wouldn't think there would be that much, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, maybe they had so many they figure, they're just going to want to go on to the new thing, the new soundtrack for the new Marvel movie,
Maybe so.
of which we haven't gotten any of recently. Are you going to get the Black Widow soundtrack when it comes out, Daniel?
Who's doing the score for the Black Widow?
I don't know. I don't know if the movie's any good. It's.
You know, I'm still excited to see it, and I will go to the theater and see it.
Well, I'm trying to think what's coming out. The Eternals, though, I think the Eternals is the one that's.
Oh, I have zero faith in that one. That one just looks.
Yeah,
I have zero interest in that. I'm the same way. I haven't seen a trailer or anything, or pictures or anything for that film either. So I'm wondering, is that movie any good?
We probably won't get a trailer for that until Black Widow releases because they're going to want to start hyping it up. We got the trailer for Shang-Chi. That's right. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Actually, I thought that Eternals was supposed to come out before.
Maybe they changed the release dates. I don't know.
Yeah.
Visual effects.
Alexander Desplat was scoring Black Widow movie, but for whatever reason he was replaced by Lorraine Balfe, who's done some of the Mission Impossible films. Yeah.
Why they throw?
He was replaced from Rogue One as well. I like his work very much.
Rogue One was supposed to have a very different score initial run. I'd love to hear that score. They said no. They wanted something that sounded more John Williamsy. They said no.
I would pay real money to hear what.
No, it was supposed to have a completely different. It was supposed to have like a not typical Star Wars score, and they got rid of it. That movie apparently had a whole different cut. It was a very different movie than what we got in theaters.
Yeah,
I'm curious as to what that movie was because I might have enjoyed it more.
I still enjoyed the film. I mean, I wouldn't change it, but I would like to see the other version.
See, I'm the weirdo here. A lot of people in this community, they like Rogue One. I had issues with it.
I did not care for Rogue One at all.
Yeah, but some people like it. My main issue is that I don't know what this is. They're always trying to diminish Luke. It's like, it's like the whole thing with Jyn Erso's father making a plan fall in the Death Star. No, he didn't. The whole point of it was like 1,000,000 to 1 shot. It was like an exhaust panel. Okay, it wasn't some planned thing that the engineer put in there in the original trilogy. No, that's just anyway. I'm ranting. We can agree to disagree. I'm not gonna.
I agree with you. Actually,
I'm not gonna yell at people like Rogue One. It's fine. A lot of people like Rogue One. It's fine.
I didn't like it either. I didn't care for it either.
Poor Daniel, now we're all three ganging up on you, huh? How do you feel, huh? Like I said, the original cut of Rogue One might have been perfectly
I'm
good.
perfectly comfortable in enjoying Rogue One. I'm not.
Well, Rogue One, actually, it's interesting. Rogue One, I think, as it originally started, it was originally a holdover from Lucasfilm before the Disney takeover. Like that was a movie that had always been planned for. Okay. And there were some nice touches in Rogue One. I like seeing Jimmy Smith show up. That was an interesting link between the prequels and the sequel and the original trilogy, that they had him in there in that one scene. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, what's left?
Well, according to the internet, Desplat might have been replaced because he wasn't able to get a full orchestra to do the scoring sessions.
What?
Yeah.
Because of the pandemic?
Yeah, but I know that you can get an entire orchestra together to do work. They just spaced them all far apart in a room, in a very, very large room.
I don't know. What's the teaser at the end of this one? Hold on.
It's
Some guy.
Spider-Man.
Okay, so now they're teasing.
I think that's Homecoming. I believe. Yes. Yeah.
Which I believe when did Homecoming come out? Was that this summer or was that the next summer? Following summer.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That before Infinity War. So you had Homecoming, and then you jumped in.
He looks completely different in this movie. I'm telling you, he looks like normal Peter Parker. He doesn't. His whole mannerisms are different. They went with they changed this when they did Homecoming.
Probably all that Sony studio.
I have a lot of problems with Sony.
Influence.
People always attack Disney, but I have a real beef with Sony Studios. I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed on this Ghostbusters because I don't want to be negative about everything coming out. And I'm thinking, well, this might be good, okay. But like a lot of other things, Sony Studios for starters, they don't like to spend money. That's one thing they don't like to do. Okay, and you can tell in their productions. Disney spends money. Sometimes they mismanage money a lot with their productions, especially with the Lucasfilm stuff. But they do spend money on their projects. Sony they're cheap. They really are.
Did you read that article in Deadline today about how much money Netflix is going to start spending on making new movies?
How much?
$17 billion this year.
Wow. I saw the trailer for that zombie one, the Snyder zombie movie that's coming out.
Yeah, I did too. It didn't. It seemed a little weird.
It seems.
I don't know that I was into it.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm like the opposite of the Fan Man. The Fan Man likes his zombies traditional and not getting smarter. But even the Romero movies, they started getting smarter. I like my zombies a little smarter. So I still may not like this movie because I had issues even with Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. But I don't know. Maybe if I have Netflix subscription, maybe I'll give it a look when it comes out. I don't know. But yeah, I just...
Can I add you to mine?
Can you what?
Can I add you to mine?
No, I already have access, Dan. You don't have to do. I appreciate the offer. Save that for your
nice.
What? I appreciate this. I know you're trying to be nice.
I'm Team Captain America. I think about other people and try to help them.
No, I'm Team Iron Man. I get the job done and think about myself. Okay.
Oh God.
There's nothing wrong with thinking about yourself. Okay. Mine.
Well, see, he gets it.
Remember the promotions for this movie? They had like the fake news hour for like news commercials for Captain America Civil War. I think you had the Leslie Bibb reporter character from the original Iron Man movie. Remember her? She shows up and she's like, well, some say these heroes, they're causing too much destruction. And like her the other guy in the thing with the, oh yeah, really? Oh, I'm sorry, this monster's going to destroy the city, but we have to see if the heroes register before he can stop it or something. Like he was making fun of her. Okay, we're just gonna go to the commercials now. Like she was getting annoyed with them because you could tell she was for the Sokovia Accords, for the registration.
Right.
And she didn't like the new guy on with her. It's like, well, I guess this debate will continue on. It's like a preview of what's gonna happen with. So they were funny. I wonder if they're in the featurette section at all on this thing. Probably not. They were on YouTube. They were like fake commercials. It's like a fake news story, and it was actually promoting Civil War, like a commercial. It was kind of clever, actually. I liked that, but
I don't know if you guys ever saw but this was going back. It was a promotion for the Winter Soldier movie. I don't know if it was made for Europe or here, but the Winter Soldier had a different little 10-second trailer where it was the freeway, but Sebastian Stan was more made up as Bucky. He had the mask on in the comic. And he's walking, it's in the freeway, and you just see him walk up, and then you see him just pick up the shield and clutch it in his hand. If I can find, it was on YouTube. If I can find that, I would show it to you because I thought it's only for a few seconds, but boy, does it work. And everybody saw that, and he doesn't talk. He's just, it's a freeway, and there's cars banged up. He's walking through it. There's this music. And then you see his legs, and then you see him, the arm come down and pick up Cap's shield, which is laying in the street. And he picks it up, and he actually has the mask on, and he cradles it in his hand and, just looks at the camera or something, possessing the shield. And I thought that is cool. That says enough right there what the film would be about. It's just like a 10-second little nod.
Was that like oh, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, so if I find it, I'll put it on MeWe or something. It's on
Yeah,
YouTube. Yeah. A lot of people never saw it, but it was like a 10-second shot. And
Was it like a Comic-Con preview or something of what this movie could be? Was it that sort of thing, or?
it could have been a Comic-Con preview, because I asked people, well, I don't see it at the end of any of my movies, or was it at the end of the last movie before Winter Soldier? I don't believe I saw it. So it could have been I think it was a Comic-Con preview. But
Okay,
he
yeah, 'cause-
he really was looking like the Winter Soldier in that little shot.
Yeah, because Disney was doing that. They had a Tron Legacy preview to garner interest in the movie, and they just showed what Tron Legacy could look like with the modern effects, and then they had Jeff Bridges as Flynn, and the crowd went wild when they saw it. And okay, so that's it's sort of, even though it's not really part of Tron Legacy, what they showed, it was like a preview of what the movie could be. Basically, it was interesting.
Right. It was just
Like I said, Disney was doing good things for a while. I honestly was. Even up until even with all the crap with Star Wars, at least I thought they were coming back with the Mandalorian. I was like, maybe they can just course correct and come back. And no, they're not going to do it. I don't know when that's going to happen, if it does, but I'm just not liking what's coming out of there right now. But we'll see.
Same here. Good night, Melissa.
Yeah. All right. So what are we doing next week?
You'd mentioned Temple of Doom.
I did. I don't know if all of you are interested or you were. I mean, I'm not. Whatever you want to do, it's your stream, Birdman. But I was thinking, Indiana Jones is in the news a lot because of these new movie announcements. Maybe it's a good time to do Temple of Doom. We did Raiders already, but we can do Temple of Doom next. But
that's
what do you think?
With me, if that's what you want to roll with.
All right. I don't know if y'all are interested in stopping by next week for this or not. Or
I'm more than happy to do that. I love Indiana Jones movies.
All right, cool.
Love the indie movies, and I love Temple of Doom. If you'll have me, I'll be right back here and same and ready to go.
We'll probably have more to talk about with the score with that one too. I'm a big fan of that score.
Yeah, John Williams again. Good score by him.
I don't understand why that movie gets so much hate.
I don't either.
Who are these people who hate the film? Because people will talk about it like, no one likes that movie, but I don't know who these people are who don't like the movie.
Here's what it was. I think at the time, Raiders was the first one and almost perfect. Then you have Last Crusade come on, very good. Has Connery in it too, along with Harrison Ford. So that got a lot of play. And I think people then started seeing Temple of Doom as the black sheep, but I don't know why. And then Crystal Skull came out, and some people were defending it, saying, well, at least it's better than Doom. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
It is not better than Doom. I don't know who those people are, but
Doom, I think, might be my favorite now, though my favorite rotates with that original trilogy. But right now, it's
Doom definitely, I mean, that was the movie that started, that made them do a PG-13.
Yeah.
That was where they said, we need something in between PG and rated R.
Because
even that heart scene was a little intense.
Yeah. Oh yes, I remember that. that was the scene. Yes.
Well, I mean, but Poltergeist was rated PG.
That would have been PG-13.
No,
Poltergeist was PG-13.
No, it would have if it had come out.
Yeah, it would have been
PG-13.
Yeah,
with the clawing my face off. The things they show you as kids in the PG movies. Oh man.
Oh, the 80s. God bless the 80s.
No, I made a joke once that back in the 70s, Deliverance was a PG movie. I'm kidding, of course, but that's my point, that you get away with a lot more in a PG movie in the old days than you can now. Now PG's like nothing. It's like today's PG is yesterday's G.
I agree, definitely. Some of the stuff is tamed compared to what to do now, and they allow in a PG or PG-13 film with kids watching, and they don't. They like, oh, that was gory, but I loved it. Wait, huh? That was my nephew's was like that, but yeah, they say. I agree with you. But
who did the score for Poltergeist?
Jerry Goldsmith.
That might be a good one around Halloween time, actually. Maybe Poltergeist.
Did we lose somebody?
What?
Zootopia.
Did he leave? Maybe he got lost out of the stream.
Okay.
Maybe he got mad at my. No, he didn't get mad. He probably just lost his thing. To say. All right. Well, it's getting late anyway. We should probably call it a night, right?
Yeah. I gotta get up early like always.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Okay. So next week, Temple of Doom. I'm looking forward to it. That's a good one. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
yes, looking forward to it.
Thank
It'll be lots of
everyone
fun.
for coming by. Who watched tonight or is watching in the future. Appreciate it as always. Adopt, don't shop. Keep listening to great film music, and we'll see you next week. Temple of Doom.
All righty. You have a good night, folks.